everybody here on the live. We'll be here soon. Just a couple minutes. The countdown file, something happened, but we're ready to go, baby. We are ready to go. Each and every one of you for being here. Yeah, baby, yeah. All right. Bam. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show, baby. We're going to get that music back up and running. Have no fear. You know we love that music. Crucial times for Bitcoin here. We're going to break it down here on the Las Vegas Sin City studio. Shout out to Robin and Dave. Batman and Robin. Well, I mean, hey, it's interesting, huh? Shout out to everybody here on the live. I mean, it is Robin. I mean, I never thought about it like that. Shout out to you guys. Bless you all. I guess Dave's Batman? I guess that's what it is. I mean, I love you guys. Bless you. Let's break down. Let's take a look at what's happening here on the day inside of the studio. Blessings on blessings. I may have... Check, wood two. Am I latent? I don't know. I can't tell. Let me see if I have a sync offset. Maybe I don't need one. Check 1 2 1 2. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. I think I do need it. Anyway, we're going to get it in. Let's take a look at BTC struggling right now. You might be coming to the channel wondering what's happening to Bitcoin, what's going down, and what do you see? Let's break it down for you right now and show you exactly what is going down for BTC. Bang, badoom, bang. Okay, Bitcoin struggling, right? Throughout the conference, it dumped. Last night, yesterday, we looked at the 1 hour time frame. I saw this estranged head and shoulder. It looked actually better on the 30-minute time frame. That's why I was looking at it on the 30-minute. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about here. And I called this out to my trading group as a head and shoulder that was going to drop to the downside. Right? We saw this on the channel yesterday if you watched me, and I said that's likely going to break down the neckline to the head and swing down. That's exactly what happened. Then we had a bullish div. We got the pump. Last night, I called the 5-minute pump from here out this right shoulder back up to the 200 MA, or no, what is it, right here. So last night, if you were watching me, somewhere in the afternoon, I talked about this inverted breaking up to the 200 MA on the 5-minute time frame, and it slowly did. Got rejected by the 200, fell down, right? That was the last real scalp trade I made right there where I talked about was that move back to the 200 of the 5-minute time frame. Now, we got that move. Absolutely beautiful. And, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is a giant cold brew. Sammy's running on caffeine. You know what that means. 4 hour sleeps here in jet lag Las Vegas. But not too jet lag, though. 3 hours ain't too bad. So can Bitcoin get back above the 200 MA here on the 5? Can we get a reversal? You know, right now, look, we're struggling with getting just above here. Got a symmetrical triangle on the 1-minute time frame. That is usually a bearish sign. These break down 90% of the time, right? They're 50-50 patterns, but they break down 90% of the time. Sorry, I got to lean into this mic. So sorry. I got to be right here. I'm still finding my way here. You know, in my home studio, I know exactly where to stand, exactly what I'm doing. Just takes me a second here to get it going. I think I got the audio a little too loud, too. Let me bring down the, all right. I think that's the best mix you're going to get there for the day. Let's take a look at what everybody's saying here in the chat. Bang, bang, bang. They're off. No, they're back on. They're really playing games with this tariff saga. Yeah, exactly. No, you know, no tariff. You know, it's all a game. It works. Someone knows what they're doing, and they're probably making a money on the volatility. You know what I'm saying? It's creating great volatility for a lot of people back and forth with the price action. And that's kind of, you know, exchanges love it, right? That's kind of how the industry works, off volatility. You're either going to get chewed out or things aren't going to happen. The audio was perfect. Thank you so much. Blessings on blessings. Thank you for saying that. Is it still perfect or was it perfect? Interesting. Audio sounds crispy. Shout out to Sin City Crypto in the house. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. So we're watching this 1-minute time frame inside of an inverted, you know, kind of head and shoulder. It's choppy, though. What do I mean by that? Well, you got this, like, you know, bit of a shoulder head. It's kind of inverted head and shoulder. It's a little chop city, though. So right now in the short term, if you're like a, you know, you're a scalp trader, people love this channel because we go over the small time frames with the scalp trader. We go over the long term for someone that doesn't trade and is really just like a DCA Bitcoin person. Great channel. I buy the bottoms long term on DCA. So we're going to get into the weekly, and we're going to show you the bigger picture of what's happening to Bitcoin so you can really get a handle of where we're going and figure it out. It's going to be an absolute blast. I got into this 2022, and here I am, down money. What a waste of my time. Life lessons for sure. Wow. 2022, and still down money. That's crazy. But Bitcoin ripped. Why? Why wouldn't, if you got into Bitcoin, you wouldn't be down? I don't understand. 2022 is a great time to buy Bitcoin. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I bought predominantly Bitcoin. If you guys watch my channel throughout the last 3 years, constantly, when every single dip happened, over and over and over again. I'm not trying to be rude. I was just, you know what? And I wasn't greedy. Everyone else was looking for these 1050Xs, so they say Bitcoin's slow. I'm not going to buy it. I was looking for a humble way out, and I just kept buying Bitcoin. Ended up turning out to be one of the bigger plays this year. Thank you for sharing your most precious asset with us. Thank you, Czar. And he sends in the super chat. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that's $22 though. Thank you so much, man. God bless you. I appreciate you so much, and I'm really, really happy to have you here. So right now, if you're scalping the small time frames, you're watching this 1 minute, and you would like to see the 1 minute get above the point of control here, $105,968, and it likely would move further up to $106,600. You guys all know me. Friday is not my favorite day to trade. Low liquidity on Friday. You never seem to get that big push to the upside that you're looking for. You know what I mean? We've had have some good Fridays, but 90% of the time, Friday is not your day. You're not going to hit it. You're not going to be like, oh my God, we had a huge volume on Friday. Did you see that massive green candle? No, it's very rare. So a lot of people have made their money throughout the week, and think about it. Trading's very similar to like a running back running through all the different tacklers. You start on Monday, and all the traders start thinking they're going to make it to the touchdown, right? And then the big defensive ends come, right? And that's liquidations. And a lot of people don't make it to Friday. I'll tell you that. They get X'd out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The good traders still have capital and are looking at things on Friday, but most people, they got rocked. You have to think about it. They start the week thinking, I'm going to nail it. And they end the week in the dumps. This happens to 90% of traders because they don't have a system, don't have a plan, and don't have discipline. They also don't get a mentor. They have no idea what they're doing. You know, I talk to people when they think about getting into trading, and I say, trading is just like entering a new jungle or a forest. I said, say I lived in that forest for 5 to 10 years. Wouldn't you want to sit with me, maybe shadow me for a week in the forest? You would know what plants to eat. You would know what animals could kill you. You would know maybe where the fresh water is, right? I would teach you a lot in that time. That's the whole point. That's really what it comes down to, you know, and that, you know, why you should be with a mentor, because that person has been in the jungle. You haven't been in the jungle. It's not going to be the same. You see what I'm saying? And you're going to go through a lot of pitfalls. You might drink the dirty water or get sick. You might have to run from the animal that you could have avoided had you hung out with the guy that already lived in the jungle. So I lived in the jungle for 20 years, everybody. I've been playing with my money for a long time, speculating. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. But I've been in this time. Just what you're about to do, I've been doing for 20 years. Attempting to turn my money into more money, right? That has been my life. So if you're making it your life, you should probably listen to someone that's made it their life. I've made it my life. I play with money. Money is a tool. I use money to multiply into more money. Then I use it to start businesses and to educate others, and that is my life, okay? So look, this looks like it's going to go further to the downside. That doesn't look too good for Bitcoin. Below the 200 MA, bit of a double top. You almost got like, you know, head and shoulder vibes there, even though the left shoulder's a little sketchy. Wow. You know, price action was horrible during the Bitcoin conference. You have to say, just a slow bleed to the downside. I mean, pretty good for the short. Shorts made some great money on the top there at the $112,000 short. I mean, absolutely beautiful on the top. So the second it made a new all-time high, you shorted it. They made it almost too easy for those shorts, right? Can't believe they didn't go get them. But hey, sometimes it's a sweet long, sometimes it's a sweet short. Shout out to anyone that's up in a short right now, banging on the market, because every day's a day for somebody to win. You know, every day is a day for someone to win. So right now we're watching this symmetrical triangle. That's your 1 minute time frame, and that's kind of what's going to happen in the next hour to 2 hours. We could get a bounce here. Looks like on Friday, I wouldn't be surprised if we just chop around, slowly roll over. This pattern tells me that we're more likely to dump than pump. So you're more likely to catch yourself down at 104,900 than anywhere else today. That's just the odds, okay? You do whatever you want with that information, but those are the odds. Let's take a look now at BTC on the weekly and zoom on in, take a look at our top-down analysis. I'm also going to look at the monthly because we're getting very close to the monthly candle close. Is that tonight or is that tomorrow? Tomorrow night is the monthly candle close. I will be live for that. I always do the monthly candle. I think I took one monthly candle off because it was in Dubai or something. Yeah, it was April and the time difference was just absurd. It would have been like 4 a.m. for me, and I was struggling as it was. So let's take a look at our bearish and our bullish scenario here for Bitcoin. Right now, I'm a bit bearish, and you have to. And I told you why. Every time these turn green, I said we got to be careful. We have a red candle. That's tweezer tops of the weekly. That caused the pullback. That caused the pullback. That caused the pullback. that caused the pullback. That was the only one in the last, out of 6 really, that when the red candle, the weekly, closed next to the green candle, that it didn't create a further pull to the downside. So that's also becoming a bearish engulfing candle. Also in ICT, these are called, basically the Citadel, like that's a failed rally. So if that closes as such, wicks on either side of a top wick, you have to assume you're starting to pull back. Bitcoin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks straight. It never did 9 weeks in the history of its life. And there you go. 105,254 Bitcoin already falling down to the downside out the symmetrical triangle. I'm telling you, the odds are more likely that Bitcoin is going to drop today. That's just what I see in the charts. I'm showing you this idea. And even when we dump, there's always going to be an up and down movement to it. What's a little, what if this is the top of the market? I know I want to freak people out, but this could be. A lot of people aren't open-minded to believe anything is possible. See, they think it has to be a certain way. It doesn't have to be any way. It could be anything. It could do anything it wants, at any moment in time. You're up for the ride. This is why you're here, right? This is the risk. That's the volatility. So that swing up to swing up, that swing down to swing down, that is bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. Now, we did pretty good. The rally continued, and we have a beautiful uptrend. So look at your trend, right? And you're likely to come back to the trend. Like Bitcoin does this all the time. And that's a beautiful trend line. You've definitely tapped it. Bitcoin comes back to the trend. That's $87,000. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure. We might make what I'm looking for is a rising wedge. I'm looking for Bitcoin to come down, bounce off probably 100K, 99,000, retest 100,000. Maybe even has to retest this key level right here. Let's zoom on in. I realize I'm like, why am I so far away from you guys? So right there, that's going to be my line of the sand. Bitcoin loses 92,000. We could be going back into some serious nonsense. All right. But 102.8 there is a very, very strong level. Let's see where this candle actually began. It opened 102,620. So 102.6. Key area for Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if we test it. We break 102.6. You can see we go to 98,500. 98.5 of the weekly is a key level of support of resistance. It looks to me like the weekly is going to make a slow bleed down here inside of a type of flag. That could also be, see, shoulder, ahead, a bit of a right shoulder. I pulled the Fibonacci on this, right, just the other day. I'll get rid of the squiggly lines for a second here. But I pulled the Fibonacci, and when you look at that, you can see you come back down to the 618 golden pocket. That aligns right there with this support of 98.5 with a wick. Usually, right, they do a wick to 706, maybe the 786. So, like, I'm starting to get this picture here for Bitcoin. This is your most bearish bullish scenario. You're going to get a pullback. You're going to start bleeding out slowly throughout the next few weeks. I mean, it's pretty obvious to me. There's a chance that we bounce and we start making an uptrending flag. I'll show you that in a second because I know I got too much going on for your mind. But right now I want you to watch. You're looking for the 618 golden pocket retracement to 100,360, maybe a wick down to 98.5. I would start putting limit orders if I didn't own any Bitcoin. And you do whatever makes you happy. But if I don't own no Bitcoin, I'd be putting limit orders in right now at about 102, 98, all the way down to 87,000. And I'd be praying that I could be catching that. Now, it took heavy fear. The fear and greed index got all the way to 10, right, for us to get all the way down. I like this. This dropped heavily from 74 back to 60. That's beautiful. We can't get this. This can't get too high. When it was at 74, I started thinking about 89. Every time I didn't take profits at 89, we had a problem. So I kept that was stressing me out. High 74, because then you're at 75, 78. You can see there's only so much room to go. I like this fear and greed setback. This is kind of what was needed. A lot of people got shook and liquidated, scared out of the market here. And they get excited for Bitcoin Nashville, Bitcoin Miami. It's going to be awesome. You know what I mean? Oh, and then Bitcoin never seems to perform that well during the conference, right? You can't get the best of both worlds. It is what it is. So when this was at 10, if this can creep back down, we can get that dump to 100K. We can get the fear back somewhere below 50. That's going to make me feel more comfortable. I like buying more Bitcoin when this is below 50 into the shaded region here. See? This is the area where I like to be buying BTC, right here in the shaded region. Here, I nibble, but I don't want to be buying massive amounts of Bitcoin here because I know I'm in the premium. I know I'm overpaying for Bitcoin when the greed is that high. This is simple stuff. You don't have to be a rocket science to figure this out. This is what it is. All right, and this is beautiful. I've been using this for a long time. 9 hours and 33 minutes will be the next update, and we'll find out kind of where we sit after this low volume Friday. Blessed to all the beautiful people here sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Thank you for jumping on in. Hope you had a good time in Bitcoin Las Vegas. All the beautiful souls out there hanging out today on this live. You people are amazing. You're awesome. You can, you will, you are the best. Believe in yourself. You have to be your own energetic source. No one can do it for you. I can believe in you 100%. I love this statement. I make it the other day, but I do it for myself. A lot of things I say in the channel are to help me stay mentally sharp, or for my own discipline. You guys are here for the ride. I'm here for the ride. I'm just expressing every single day what's happening. So what am I saying? Well, the point is, say a bunch of people believed in you, and they wrote you letters, and they called you. Say there was 100 people cheerleading for you, and they're like, you could do it. I know you can. You're awesome. And they left you letters, and they wrote you, and they called you, but you thought you were worthless, right? Just think about it. How could you, what would happen? You probably wouldn't do that much for the world, right? Now, what if everyone thought you were worthless, but you thought you were amazing? What would happen? You would change the world, right? So it never mattered what people thought about you. See? When they thought you were amazing, but you didn't, it didn't matter. When they thought we weren't amazing, but you didn't, it didn't matter. It's about what you think about yourself. It's about the goals that you want to achieve every single day here. Bitcoin bleeding out, 105,100, looking like it's going to go lower and lower. I see a bigger pullback for BTC. It is what it is. I see a move back to that 618 golden pocket here, and somewhere at 98,000, 99, 100K. There's a chance we can hold above 103,004. Where did this one open here? 1026. There's a chance we hold 1026. We bounce. We could create maybe some type of ascending triangle here. I don't know exactly how it's going to go out. Like, we might make a beautiful triangle here and break out. You see what I'm saying? But I see 5 to 6 weeks of sideways price action here. And this is summer month. I've seen this in July. I've seen June and July. I've seen this many, many times in my life. And so it kind of follows suit with the way it goes. We'll see, though. Nothing is guaranteed and set in stone. But that closes as such Sunday night. You're going to have basically a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly. Tweezer tops confirmed. Bearish divergence. Overbought on the stochastics RSI. Lower RSI is too as well. It's just beautiful. And, and the 21-day moving average is far away from the 200. Taking profits whenever the 200 and the 21 are far away is usually a good sign, right? There's still some bullish things here. It's not all bearish, but you got to start taking into account that we're going to pull back. We started the stream telling you we're likely going to pull back, and Bitcoin has already pulled back since the stream began. I don't mean to be the bearer of bear news. I just got to tell you the facts here. I'd like to be bullish every day and tell you we're going to pump, but that's just not the case. I got to tell you exactly what I see happening. So I see a move back down there. It's pretty set. Let's take a look at your 5-day. That's going to close a bearish engulfing candle as well. Look at the last few times you did this. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You know how to look between a green and a red rectangle, right? If a red rectangles ride. I was trying to make something funny. Red rectangles ride, raging, roaring. Red rectangles ride, raging, roaring. So, now, alliterations are my thing, though. I love them. So, check this out. Can we come further down? That's what I see. The 5-day. Bearish engulfing candle. So, I just want to show you how you don't have to be a rocket scientist. Green candle, red candle, green candle, red candle. We pull back. You look at the bigger time frames. You really have to put weight on the bigger time frames. The 3-day. Finally saying, no, I'm done. I'm going to come back to the 21-day moving average. I'm cooked. It's over, baby. It's over. So, the 3-day coming back to the 21-day moving average as well. You see? We're getting a 12-day pullback, and I'm calling it here. I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong. Let's see what the daily has in store. The daily is just crossing the dotted line. Many times I've seen that the beginning of bearish momentum. Another thing on the daily that happened is you can see this as an Adam and Eve. We talked about it yesterday, right? You see? That was an Adam and Eve, and it did break down just as the Adam and Eve was supposed to. You got your arc and your semicircle. That is an Adam and Eve to the downside. Look it up. Figure this stuff out. Use it to your advantage. And Adam and Eve. There was bearish divvy right there. This was and I talked about it. Remember yesterday? I kept saying it's bearish divergence, but nobody will tell you. And I said I could, because I studied divergence. See, my mentors told me what divergence was, but then I studied it intensely. And I realized divergence is just an angle that will divide another angle. So that angle keeps drawing this way, that angle keeps drawing that way. It's divergence. And I call it a Class C divergence because it's not your regular divergence. Your regular divergence is the RSI moving down, price moving up. That's Class A. Class B was kind of flat, like exaggerated. And Class C is when they both move up, but one moves up at a far higher angle than this, and that's still divergence. I call it Class C bullish divergence. It played out just as well. Class A, B, and C all play out pretty much the same. There's no really more aggressiveness. They just look cleaner. Class A looks a lot more cleaner, and it's like your Schedule A beautiful divergence. Like that's what you want to see. That's like the textbook dictionary divergence. This is a lot harder to see, and not everyone can understand that. But look, there's right there on my indicator with the green RT, with the red R. It had it right there. We had the pump above it, but it called that move out. So the daily very oversold. The RSI halfway down. The daily RSI has a lot of ways to come down. Likes to kind of level off somewhere into the high to mid 30s. You can see that, especially at a bull run. So yeah, I see a pullback here for Bitcoin. Beautiful times at 112,000. We made a new all-time high. Life was great. Now what? Now, are we going to get a crazy bounce here? Can we make an inverted head and shoulder and take off into the sunset? There's a chance, but I think that's highly more unlikely. But I'll be open-minded to it. And if it happens, we'll jump on in. You know, we'll take it. We'll take it. So thank you so much for the super chat. God bless you. Look at those balls in the jar moving around there. Hey, God bless you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Crypto Lifer Show. So we're looking for this daily to hold, the daily to hold previous resistance as support. At least get a bounce here. I just don't see the volume and the follow-through. Especially everyone's going to be traveling the next few days. Even me, like I wasn't in the charts that much the last 2 days. There was so much going on here in Nashville. And you wanted to connect, you wanted to talk. You know, it was one of the first times I actually gave myself a bit of a moment and connected with the people, got myself out of the screen. I live in that screen, everybody. I'm there, 6, 7, 8 days a week. I'm alone in my house. Everyone goes to sleep. I wake up early. It does not stop. I had to be up at 5:45, 3 days straight, 4 days, just to make this stream happen. And again, that's what you do. I'm not complaining. That's what you do if you want to be in the top. A lot of other people came to Vegas and they moved their slot up 3 hours. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm not waking up that early. But that's non-negotiable for me. We're not missing 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Like, if that's when we go live, that's when we go live. That's non-negotiable. I don't care if I have to jump out of a parachute to make it there on time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to do it. I hope one day I never have to jump out of a parachute just to make my stream on time. But you never know. Anything is possible. He had to swim away from sharks just to make it. They were biting his toes. So look, the daily, can it get a bounce? Previous resistance is support. You would look for a bounce here. How you would get the bounce? You'd be looking for your 8 hour to be very oversold. You'd be looking for your 4 hour to be very oversold. And you'd be looking for that tweezer bottom. We got the tweezer bottom there. They faked it out. They closed the tweezer bottom and then just completely denied it. And so where are we going? What's happening? Well, what I looked at was, remember, that head and shoulder pattern. I've got this line of the sand here now, which is clear resistance, which is going to be 107,000, right? 107K, 107K, 107. I said, the more you hit it, the more you're going to break it. And, of course, we broke down on 107K there, and the market starts to move further to the downside. So no love for Bitcoin. And you can even see shoulder, head. That was kind of like, and we caught that other right shoulder that I showed you in the 1 hour time frame. So if you're in my trading group, you could, even though I was traveling, I called out the 1 hour, like basically it was on the 30 minute. I'll show you more time, but I called out this head and shoulder pattern. Very hard to see, but I saw it, and it was definitely a head and shoulder. That's your neckline, and you could see that it was going to break to the downside 68% of the time. That's going to fall through with a rounded up move. That's 70. It hit the exact target, which is crazy. It said you're going 105,000. You hit it in 105,000. Now look what I see now on the 30-minute time frame. I see a head and shoulder pattern yet again. Right? I see a shoulder, head, right shoulder. That doesn't look amazing. This is bear flag-esque, and this is that symmetrical triangle. The bigger time frames look like they're bleeding out. Looks like Bitcoin may have to come lower here. Wow, 101,300. Could the low volume Friday be the dump, or do we get the pump back to the upside, and how do we figure this out? So now look, we're getting more probabilities. Are you with me here? Every single day I do this. Now, normally I've done a big update in the morning, but I haven't been able to do that because it's 7:30 in the morning right now. You understand? It's 7:30 in the morning for me, so I wasn't able to do my morning up. This is the first update you're getting. This is it. This is the eclectic version. So check it out. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. That's bearish to me. Bit of a descending triangle bear flag. It doesn't have a lot of good vibes to me. I see this thing going further down. The measured move takes you to 102.5, and you lose that $101,378 for BTC. viciously trying to hold 104.8, but that just, 1, 2, 3, the more you keep hitting it, the more likely it's going to fail too as well. So, okay. So now we see the bigger time frames are bearish, period, right? You've seen it. And now you see that the smaller time frames are going to fall through. Now you need to look for a place that's safe or maybe, won't get you liquidated to take advantage of the move. And that's the plan. So this is trading, all right? And you're putting in your due diligence. All this information is going to culminate into exactly, into the probability in which I take. All right, we're waiting for these moments, exculpating the information, all right, at the speed of light here. So can we continue further down? It looks likely. If you're at a short, you're probably loving this right now. And again, if Bitcoin can't get back above 106,269, you see that resistance, resistance, resistance. Wherever you get that bounce, then you come up for the retest, then you fall, resistance, resistance. You can clearly see that that's the line in the sand for today. Can't get back above 106,300. Really, that's going to be the key level that you really want to make sure you get through. I drink coffee like once a month. It's like a fun thing for me. It's like, ooh, gets me going, man. I can't believe people drink it every day because it gets me like, my ears start twitching. So look, shoulder, head, right shoulder. Nice little pump here, though. Look, oversold stochastics on the 15-minute. Bitcoin attempting to try to go get that rippage. Let's take a look at the smaller time frame, see if a signal is coming across. So look, I'm looking for the 5-minute to crack that 200 MA. If it does, we're going to rip. It's a bit of a mangled double bottom. It's got some double bottom vibes. The measured move, if it does come out as a double bottom, is about here. Takes you to about 106,008, and to me, it would just be a kind of a little bit of a bounce. Looking at the bigger time frames, that looks unlikely. It looks more like this is just going to be your last little push up, and we're just going to hang out here, fill this nose, and dump as we round out. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I like the stochastics. They're pushing to the upside. Let's go back to our 1 minute. Did our 1 minute crack the 200 MA? It did not. Remember, for us to go do anything at all, and so remember, we started this show with the symmetrical triangle. We told you that it was likely going to break to the downside 68% of the time. Gave you both your measured moves, one way, the other way, right? This moves down. Looks like it'd take you to 104,968, right? We just wicked down 105,600. We were right there, 105,560. So you can see how I just basically called that dump. It happened like a few minutes later. Now it's trying to bearishly retest this trend line. Trying to get back inside the pattern. They went after the quick shorts. Again, be very careful trading high leverage on small time frames. For the last few days, it's been vicious. All right? It's been vicious. We got into some serious chop. We hit that top and they chopped the market up. Look, that's a bearish retest to me. I wouldn't be surprised if we go further to the downside here for Bitcoin. Watching kind of how these parameters work, seeing how this is filling. Look at that. So for me, I don't open longs. I don't take advantage of scalps unless I'd say the 5 minute now with the volatility. So I need the 5 minute, or I'm looking for. I don't need anything. God has given me everything I've ever desired and used to my advantage. So look, I'm looking for something like this. You see? I'm looking for a price action to break above the 5 minute, make a flag, have the 21 come up, and then boom. If that happens, I may take the trade today. If that doesn't happen, there's no reason to take a long. All right, and the shorts are still in control until you can get back above 106,000, period. And really, the line in the sand for me is going to be 106,228. So, yeah. And again, look, they just rocked and wrecked. Everyone who jumped into that short late with heavy leverage just got absolutely rocked. Friday is not your day. If anything, that would be the re-entry on the short right there. It's the bearish retest of the symmetrical triangle. And then you can see I'm in this bigger pattern. I'll turn off the moving averages just to kind of give you this clarity. But you can see this is the bigger pattern wedge, right? These two did that line and that line. That's the bigger pattern. Here's the smaller one. We called the dump out of the symmetrical. It's bearishly retesting that bottom trend line. And that, and so what we're looking for is for this to kind of roll over here, get tighter, and then dump on down. Measured move takes you to 102.5 and then possibly to 101,400 for BTC. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. It doesn't look amazing. Again, if you're really, really new and you need to know what's happening, write this down. If Bitcoin can't get back above 106,250, I would not long that market because you're basically going against a downtrend on the micro time frames, and that could eventually pull into a bigger downtrend on the bigger time frame. So that is the key. Don't play yourself. Don't force a trade here on low volume Friday. I wish it would be, a different story, but that's just the case here. So big money in the shorts from the top at 112,000. And it looks like those shorts may continue to get their money and bleed out here. So I'm looking for this to kind of hang out and roll over. If Bitcoin breaks above the 5, I'm looking for the 21 to touch it, and I'm executing a trade. I know exactly how to handle what's going to happen, and I'm going to do whatever, my parameters are. I fly today. I have to pack today, other stuff, right? So it's a Friday, low volume. Not a good day to think, I'm going to set up a bunch of trades and get on a plane tonight. Not usually the best look, so. And again, you got to know your lifestyle. What are you doing? Maybe your brother's getting married this weekend or next weekend. Do you want to open up the biggest trade of your life? Sometimes I've seen people make big trades no matter what. If the system works, the system works. But my whole point is, our mind has a lot to do with how we execute trades. We've got a lot of other things in our mind. We're going places. We're doing stuff. It could be detrimental to your trading. Make sure you have a nice, clean palette, a nice, clear schedule if you're going to actually deep dive and go into some high-end, high-risk trades. Because the odds are, every distraction is going to make you, could affect you in a financial way. So, again, I'm not a financial advisor. Now, when I say and do should be taken as financial advice, please get yourself a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence before getting into any project, coin, or trade. So, bearish retest of this bottom trend line after the dump out the symmetrical triangle. That's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. And then sideways price action into what looks to me like a bear flag. Almost got descending triangle vibes. I see how this thing could go further to the downside for BTC. So even whipped and lost the trend, I feel like got back inside. Yeah, ugly pattern for ugly times, slow bleeds, and the weekly and the bigger time frame say. So that is my update for Bitcoin. You can clearly see that I'm a bit bullish. a bit bearish for BTC in the short term. So I gave you everything I could for Bitcoin, all the way from the weekly, all the way down. Even we look at the monthly, right? But I'll take a little monthly tomorrow night, and we'll break that down. Saturday night will be fun. We'll have a Saturday night monthly candle close. That'll be pretty awesome. Then we have the weekly candle close right after it. So bang, bang, bang. This weekend we will have 4 streams coming at you like we do. So yeah. Now, is it time to jump into a short? Is it too late? That's the question. People want to know, can I make some money on this short? What's happening? Let's deep dive that idea and see if there's a proper entry here for the short. Now, I'm all about the moving averages, right? We just lost the 200 MA on the 2-hour time frame. It's crazy. We can almost say, like, is this a falling wedge? You broke out, you broke back in. Could you break out the wedge again? This is what I do, really strange stuff that most people would never even think about thinking about. And that gives me a bit of an edge, because if you're doing what everyone else is doing, the market maker can find you. You speak a language that the market maker can't understand, how is he going to liquidate you? You understand? If you come at it from an alienic perspective, right? It's a herd mentality out here. People would do whatever the herd does, right? So if you go anti-herd, the odds are you're not going to get liquidated like everybody else. But you got to be able to see things differently, and you got to have that extra sauce. So here's the deal. There is a possibility of a nice short here, a head short. And again, it's a little late, but the entry would be now. You keep the stop right there. Why? Let's flip it upside down. The 21's about to cross the 200 MA. You flag this out like we usually do, right? And that looks like it'll flag out and continue to the upside, right? We do this all the time on the 1 hour. This is how we trade. So you're looking for the 21 to cross the 200. You're looking for price to go consolidate, and then it pumps. But that's a dump down to 100,900, and that makes a complete sense of what we already just went over too as well. You see? So you can enter right now with a stop on the other side of the 200 MA on the 2-hour time frame. Good chance that plays out, right? And you take the short all the way back down here to 101,071. So that, to me, if there is a trade out today, that's the trade. Again, it might come up to the top of the channel and give you better entries at 105.8 or something like that. And I'd be looking for that, possibly on the smaller time frames, like if the 5-minute gets above the 200 MA. Now, if you get above the 200 MA and things start to kind of rip, then I would suggest, so you watch this closely. But that's why I would use the 2-hour 200 as my protection, because whenever you lose that, you're likely going to the 3-hour 200 MA, which we actually bounced off of. Look at that. And we did. Now, if you lose the 3-hour 200 MA, you're going to be going down to the 4-hour 200 MA. The 4-hour 200 MA seems to be calling our name. So again, I got mixed signals. There's like a 30% chance that Bitcoin could rip up here and shred the shorts a new one. there's more of a 70% chance Bitcoin's jumping to the downside. So the odds are that we're going down. And look, another bearish engulfing candle right there. Bearish engulfing, bearish engulfing. You know, that was almost bearish engulfing. And you can kind of see, like, that one is a huge bearish engulfing candle. That one's a bearish engulfing candle. What is a bearish engulfing candle? What the heck am I saying? Well, we trade candles, like, and when you look at candles, when this candle could go inside of that candle, that's a bearish engulfing candle. It tells you you're likely going to make another red candle, maybe 2 or 3, and that's exactly what we saw. We have no really strong divergence, too, that's really spreading us, pushing us back to the upside, giving me that faith that we're going to continue to rip further on out. So, yeah. Any trade, if I saw any trade, it would be using the 200 MA, because I use the 200 MA basically for all my trades, but I use it for protection, or I use it for entry, or I use it, So, let's go over this one more time. Yes, we could possibly rip back up and rip the shorts a new one. Anything is possible for Bitcoin. We could, out of nowhere, they just say no tariffs in the next 2 hours. And next thing you know, Bitcoin's ripping again further to the upside. You see what I'm saying? So this could happen. That's why I would wait to see what the 5 minute does. So me, am I going to make that short on the 2 hour? The 5 minutes looking more and more like it's going to roll over, giving me signals that that's a good entry here on the 2 hour time frame. So again, flip it upside down. We trade this all the time. 21 about to cross the 200. Price action's above the 200. Low stochastic, it's like boom. And this could easily just roll over. Just because it's curving, no one always, you want to look at your support or resistance. They're the most, support and resistance is most important. I've seen some stochastics do my banana curve. They're about to rip. Everything looks great. And then we get to a resistance and it's not so great. Look at this, bounce right there. Resistance, bounce. Resistance. Previous support is going to act as resistance. Now 106,000 is going to be that line in the sand. And until we get back above that, some sketchy business here. So here's a live trade that I'm talking about, and you can hold me down, write this down, see if it plays out. See if my analysis works for you. Take a shot. Say, hey, demo trade this on a demo account if you want, just to find out what happens. If you want to open up a demo account, you can go to weeks.com. It's not even your money, it's fake money, and you can kind of watch and learn. You can set your stop loss, you can learn. And I think that's the real way people should learn how to trade. You know what I mean? Spend a couple weeks demo trading, at least I'd say 2 months demo trading. Get your parameters behind you. See if you can turn more money into more money demo trading. See if you can control your emotions. See if you can handle it. This is important. You've got to find out how you react to the market. It's not, everyone's like, I can't use real money. This I demo trade, then I use real money, I lose it all. Well, take demo trading seriously. Here's a great point. Public speaking. I did a lot of public speaking. A lot of people did public speaking. People are afraid to public speak. They got to get in front of everybody, right? So what do? They practice in front of a mirror, or they practice in front of a few friends. They don't just go and jump in front of a freaking crowd and start doing public speaking, right? Same thing with trading. Why would you start doing something without at least getting that preliminary, remembrance of your behavior, like starting to getting a pattern of behavior? Trading is having a pattern of behavior that you can lean on when your emotions are off. You've got discipline. You've got to keep your discipline. How much are you coming in? How much do you make? How much are you risking of what you're making? What's your income? You know what I mean? Like, again, these are questions everyone should be asking themselves. It's funny. People will put more time into researching a vacation than they will to researching their financial freedom. How insane is that? The average American will spend more time going through the Airbnb details than going through than studying the finance and learning how money could change their lives, right? This is mind-boggling to me. But if you're willing to make money, then you might as well spend some money learning how to keep it. I spend money on mentorships. I constantly listen to mentorships. I find it free. When I see someone that has more money than me, is more accomplished than me, I shut up and I ask questions. You see what I'm saying? Know your role. Know where you are in life and know how you can absorb things like a sponge. The people around you see that. When you stay humble and quiet, the people with the power and the connections that want to help you, they swoop right in. When you talk a bunch of nonsense, they run right away from you. Remember that. We just had 777s, but it flipped to 785. But we just had 777s on the stream. Shout out to the 1,785 people here on a low volume Friday. And I know there's probably 200-300 people that watch my channel that were all night last night. And that's just not going to happen today, right? So, look, we called out the fall from the symmetrical. We told you that was a bearish retest. Nice entry on the short. And it started to drop further to the downside. Let me show you something else that my mind just caught out of nowhere. But, that has shoulder head, right shoulder vibes. That looks like it could break further to the downside. I'm not loving what I'm seeing here for Bitcoin. I'm just telling you, facts on facts. This does not look amazing. I may open up this head short, right? Got to open up this head short. Let's take a look here. And we're going to take a look at Ethereum too. It's not doing too bad, interesting enough, compared to BTC. We're also going to take a look at Bitcoin dominance. We're going to see if there's any coins that are just showing strength here against BTC. I'm here on Weeks, all right? My favorite exchange in the game. Shout out to the whole Weeks team. Shout out to Thomas. Thomas, I'm so sorry to get to see you, man. I get ADHD. I run all over the place. People say, hey, Sam, go here, Sam, go there. And I never look at my messages. My team has to yell at me. It's not easy for me. I have no idea what's really going down. Look, symmetrical triangles break to the downside 68% of the time. All you had to do was trade the symmetrical triangle down, and it even barely retested the trend line right there. Like this just happened on the 1 minute. You see? This same thing just happened on the 1 minute. Let me show you. I just want to blow your mind. Let's get back to that 1 minute, right? Wait, was I here? Yeah. The 1 minute was a symmetrical. It fell out. It came in barely retested. It dropped. Let's look at Bitcoin on the daily. Okay. Oh no, where was that? On the yeah, I was looking at it on Weeks, right? But if you look at it here on the 1 hour time frame, it was in a symmetrical triangle. It fell out, it barely retested, it dropped to the downside. That's the exact same thing. But this is the 1 hour, you see? Bearish retest. Look, you lose this trend line. This is my mentor taught me so much. The bearish retest, these are the safest places to get into a trade. And now I see what looks to me like a descending triangle. They could be inducing shorts. I get it. But that looks bearish to me. Like we get a drop to the downside. Be careful though. Low volume Friday, man. It's very, very sketchy. See futures, you come up here, you hit demo trading. They'll give you a bunch of money that's fake, but you'll be able to set these parameters. You'll know how to touch the stop loss in the long. Like, you got to know how to drag this. You got to know what you're doing. You can't just jump on in and willy-nilly. You got to have a plan. If you execute a plan, you say you're going to follow it, and you follow through on it, there's a good chance that you're going to win. But if you just willy-nilly this, and you go and say, I'm just going to find out what happens, throw my money in the pit and see where it goes, that's not... Usually, people that do that end up part of someone else's plan. I'll tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. Wow, so this is interesting. And so I've flipped to the 2 hour time frame, and I'll show you. You're going to go to your indicators. Type in MA, right? Hit moving average twice, all right? And flip this down. And I'm just teaching you how to get on the fly here and set up your parameters. Hit your settings bar here. This is going to be a style. We're going to turn this into the 21. We're going to turn this into the 21 here. All right. And we're going to turn it yellow. White. Sorry, white. Excellent. Then we're going to flip down to the 9 here. Click the settings. We're going to flip this one to the 200 MA. Okay. This is all I really need. What am I doing here? What is that? Why does that keep doing that? 200. All right. Bang. So here's the deal. See, that's funny. I have some mixed signals here too. I can see how they could make it look so bearish and flush the shorts and a complete new one. You know what I mean? This is my experiment. I've been experimenting this for a few years now. It's like a trend line. You see they'll lose it, but at the end of the day, you can, because I got taught how to trade broken patterns by my mentor, and he taught me if you're back inside the pattern, then you act like you never left. So you basically X all this out. And this is great. You'll never really see any other trader do this. This is my own unique stuff here. That's why I love what I do, man. I don't follow nobody else. It's my stuff. So, and this goes like this. You just, imagine that it never left the trend line, and this thing can rip. I've seen it happen many times. Most people will never see it this way. But it's still a falling wedge, technically, that can break to the upside. Pretty interesting, right? And this is why I like having a new, unique perspective, because when you see things differently than the rest of the world, you can gain an edge, right? That's why you can't be like everybody else. Your uniqueness is your key. Everyone here is different. Nobody is the same. Your parents, it took millions of years for them to meet and create you. Think about it. You're a special being. It took billions of years for you to come out here right now, for the sperm to hit the egg, and for you to exist to watch this stream. Each and every one of us are a miracle. This stream is a miracle. This moment is a miracle. Are you kidding me? Like, it's Big Bang, whatever, it just, we're moving, we're on a gap. It just, the whole thing is insane. So, that's why you got to stay in the present and be appreciative of every single moment that we have. So do you do the head short with, above the 200 MA, or do they rock this puppy? Interesting. And price action, I go when I have a really high probability call. This is a bit sketchy. I do like when you're below the 200 MA on that time frame, it does suggest that more pain is coming. I may not make a trade on a low volume Friday. It's a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. So look, when you short like this, you might do it wrong. I've like opened up a long instead of a short accidentally. Like when I first started trading, you just don't, because right here the take profit's going to be 101.045, right? The stop loss is going to have to be about like 106.753. See what I'm saying? And 105,004. They're getting a bit of a bounce there too, back to 105.5. It'd have to be about like 1,000 for 3,000, right? 9, yeah, right there. Head short. Now here's the deal: you stay in the short, but if it rips the 5-minute 200 MA, this is insane trading. But you can open up a short and a long at the same time. You long go back up to the 200 MA, and then basically you break even if the short doesn't play out. It's a way to kind of cover yourself no matter what. So basically, you wait. If the 5-minute breaks the 200 MA, then I know that I have to open up a hedge short because that could create a bigger move to the upside. A hedge long against that short. We're in one of those, when the probabilities get tighter, sometimes that's what you have to do. It depends on what the market gives you. Not every day is going to be the same trading day. And again, like I showed you, my mind takes in a bunch of different data, sees it 100 different ways, and then slowly differentiates where the highest probabilities exist and executes in that place, right? Like, that's still got inverted head and shoulder vibes to me. Again, I would not long unless you get back above the 5-minute 200 MA. Point of control, 106,000. And really, 106,200 would be the official place because that would show that you broke above this resistance and you're coming down for the retest. The retest is the safest place to enter a trade. Remember that. Or the lowest risk. I shouldn't say nothing is truly safe, but it's the lowest risk in the trading game. So again, mixed signals. I can see how we're bearish. Closing, opening up this short could play out pretty nicely, but I could also see how they catch us off guard and get a bit of a run. The bigger time frames, though, do suggest that we're going lower. You could wait till today to see where that daily candle closes, and then on Sunday, if we get that red close, that's tweezer top. Now, what if something miraculous happens? That candle flips green. It's possible. The odds are getting very slim that that's going to happen. Very, very slim. There's some crazy news here. Cantor Fitzgerald plans Bitcoin Gold Investment Fund. They're also part of a new Bitcoin Treasury Consortium, 21 Capital, alongside Tether and SoftBank. It's a big deal. A prominent financial service firm, Cantor Fitzgerald, reveals plans to introduce a new investment fund that combines Bitcoin exposure with a gold-backed safety net. This fund is designed to attract institutional investors who remain cautious about Bitcoin by offering a downside protection through physical gold. The firm's chairman, Brandon Lutnick, emphasized the goal of bringing more investors into digital assets by, what I think they're doing is they have a bunch of futures and they have what I think is happening here? And this is my perspective. They have a bunch of old instruments that they've been selling to people on gold, and they're starting to lose tons of money on it. So they had to flip it. They had to do and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't the case. But I feel like they're trying to flip it so they could still sell some of their gold instruments. Like, slap a derivative in there and call it a hedge. You don't need it. Just buy Bitcoin. This actually doesn't make any sense to me. You're the biggest financial firm in the game, and you're hedging against Bitcoin with gold? But maybe there's something I don't know. I'll find out. I'll do deeper dives. It is interesting. When I see gold and Bitcoin coming together, and I hear the word Cantor Fitzgerald, pretty interesting stuff, if you ask me. All right? Pretty interesting stuff. Mind-blowing, to be honest. So Bitcoin, I didn't make a trade. You could tell I'm kind of sitting in limbo here, seeing if we get the bounce. The daily is very oversold. It did finally go below the dotted line, and it's like double bottoming here. Could we get this breakout? It could happen. Let's take a look at our 1 hour. It's very, the 1 hour doesn't look amazing, but it is trying to do, it did a double bottom here. You see this? It double bottomed, and now it's doing the cup and handle. This is interesting. See this right here? There's your cup and handle. Sammy, cup and handy to the upside. We may have found the daily bottom on this beautiful Friday. The cup and handle would have a move from wick to wick. Out of this move, bang. Again, you break back above 106.260, 106.5, and then bang. And then the 5-minute would crack the 200 MA, and we'd be able to possibly catch a long here. So there's a kind of a cup and handle there. You see that? That's a cup and handy. Didn't really notice it as such before. Bang. Again, you got to get above that POC, 106,000, and then that line right there, 106,286, and the big boy, 106.5. I would, we break above here, then my model plays out. The 21 comes, and I just trade my model. I don't know what's going to happen to price action. I never said I did. I believe over time, I will say I think and I believe in only one time when I talk on this channel. I'm never talking about the charts, but I'll say what I believe Bitcoin's going to do over time. They're going to continue to print money to zero. They're going to continue to add more money to circulation. I was out to dinner with a guy from Brazil, and he told me they, like 1,000,000%, 8 zeros he was inflated to. Their money was losing so much value that his dad had to buy everything at the first of the month for their whole month, because if he went next week, he had less money. So at the first, once he got a lot of money, he'd have to go and buy everything they needed for the month. Otherwise, he couldn't, And then your paycheck, they had to basically triple it every month. You get it? Like if you were getting $1,000 a month, and then inflation hit you by 30%, you had to get $1,300 the next week, or whatever. Each week they had to up your paycheck. Like, this is insane to keep up with the inflation, and the money was just turning into nothing. And this is Bretton Woods, right? When they slap the entire world against the dollar, and they kind of, what they can do is they can out-ratio your currency, and so they can keep printing the dollar, and it affects Americans, but it affects the other countries far worse. They get hit even worse. Their currency devalues at a faster rate than the dollar. And this is going to happen around the world. And it's actually going to create a little bit of dollar dominance, because people are going to say, well, I should be in the dollar. It's stronger than my own money. And that kind of creates, when there's weakness in when people don't believe in their own currency, right? That's the one thing the dollar has going for it, that they could create a bit more demand. And people don't realize that the world is still expanding. There's still billions of people that have, basically don't use the internet yet. Like we still have a lot of people that don't have the internet, man. Like we are, as much as we're in the golden age, there's a lot of stuff in the world right now that's like still kind of in the dark ages. Like there's some really weird stuff the way this world is, because money gets concentrated into the people, they spread it to where they want. They'll leave an African village alone, do nothing, but they'll, develop Dubai like you wouldn't believe. But now we're getting to the point where you just need a cell phone and we can unbank you, and that's the key. And that's why I love Bitcoin, because you just need a cell phone and you can become a bank. These people don't have to go get an ID. They don't have to, So I heard there's places where the real poor people in that area, like in India, I'm sure there's a class system. I'm sure there's real poor people. They don't even let them have like a serious bank account. Like there's like a lower level. The world is interesting, man. And we think you know what the world is because you lived in New York and you look at it, but you really got to see it. You got to ask yourself, what am I not seeing? Right? Because there's a whole world that you don't see every day. And you build your world off what you do see. And sometimes what you see has been manipulated. Your whole reality may be completely off. All of us are getting manipulated in some way, shape, or form. It's good to reset every day, and that's why you go into nature. Nature will help you rebalance and find out the why. The trees will ask you. You'll hear the silence. You'll hear the breeze go through the trees. You'll say, man, I think I was caught up there in that material world, chasing. I got a song, Mind's Island, and it's about going in your mind when you're stuck in those big cities, and it seems like you're caught up by the advertising, by the buying, by the, and you just feel like you're basically an inundated advertisement. They've taken over your subconscious mind with all the stimulation to the point where you can barely think straight. You move to a quiet town with a waterfall walk, a hike, a place where you can really connect to nature once a day, twice a day. I did that and my life changed, everybody. I got out of the big cities. My frequency got high. I started going after my dreams. And I'm not trying to say the big city was holding me down, but for me, maybe it was. I needed to go to a place where my distractions weren't that strong and where I could really, really grow. And I found that I do better in these rural areas, man, where I have access to nature, where I have access. And that's why I moved to Florida. I'm happy in the sun. I used to go 5-6 days straight without seeing the sun in Boston. It was depressing. I had that like seasonal depression, whatever you call it. I push myself and always tell myself I got to be in a good mood. And for the most 80% of the time, but I was fighting energy. And In Florida, like 99% of the day I wake up, it's a beautiful sunny day. And I go, wow. And I got myself here through trading, through following my dreams, and through going after everything I can. So every sunny day I say, God, man, thank you, dear Lord, because you helped me find my perspective. Even the fact that I knew where Sarasota was when I was a kid and decided I was going to move there years ago, with my family. I was 23 years old, 22, and I was like, man, when I make it, I'm moving to Sarasota, Florida, on the Gulf, baby, with the quartz white sand and the crystal clear water. Like, where else would you want to live? Seriously. I'm not hating on Miami, but I love my Gulf, man. The Gulf of America, too. Right when I moved there, they changed the name. Gotta love that. So a bit of an inverted head and shoulder. Again, if the 5-minute breaks above, good. If the 5-minute gets rejected, we keep slumping. So watch. I'm going to watch the smaller time frames. If they show that they really can't give above this 200 MA, things, the moving average start to roll over, the 2-hour trade starts to look pretty sweet. All right? This 2-hour trade starts to look real sweet. This keeps disappearing on you and you don't want it to, go to your settings, go to your style, and hit always show stats. And this will stay up for you and won't disappear like it was disappearing there. I like to see it. Bam, and the short just got better at 384 with that higher time frame pump there. 105.5, Bitcoin getting back. So I gave you everything I could. Am I going to pull a shorter along? I'll be honest, I got mixed signals. I like to trade high probability plays that give me the most opportunity. I see mixed signals here that could get me rocked and wrecked if I don't play it perfectly. So I gotta give it more of my focus and discipline to be able to really nail this. It's one of, every trade, some trades I can see it from zoom out. I don't need to be micro analyzing, right? Other times I really gotta watch a smaller time frame and wait for confirmation. There's a good chance the 5-minute rips above this 200 MA and they rock the shorts. There's a chance. It's attempting to do a hidden Adam and Eve here, like a, you know what I mean? It's attempting. It's not amazing. And I'm not in love with the pattern. And I told you it does look bearish. And I said if you can't get back above 106.5, 106.260, like that's going to be my line in the sand there. As I showed you, the safest trade is to wait for the 5-minute to break the 200 and the 21 to touch it. That is the safest trade, the highest probability trade that I backtested for years of looking at every market of the world. You could trade Forex, you could trade anything. You could trade the NASDAQ. All right? Let's take a look at the NQ and see what's happening right now to the NASDAQ. So I'm not making a trade just yet. And I told you exactly what I will do. 5-minute shows lack of bearish momentum and falls over. I may jump into the 2-hour trade. You see what I'm saying? Might even be a good time to, but look, had I entered that trade then at 105.3, I'd be down and out already. Shout out to the new subscribers on the channel. Thank you for jumping on in. I met a lot of people here in Vegas. A lot of people said, I watch your channel, man. Thank you for everything you do. I must have taken, hundreds of pictures with people. It was unbelievable. People were like, man, can I take a picture with me, man? I don't mean to be disrespectful and everything. I was like, man, you people are too nice. Jump on in, I couldn't believe how respectful the lifers were, man. What a good group of people. So here we are again. You can say that this is now the new symmetrical triangle on the 5. And there we have it. These break down, mainly, that's 104.229. And then they break up. You got 106.9. That's what we're watching here on the 5-minute time frame. Bitcoin in a symmetrical triangle. It's going to get tighter and tighter in the zone. So there's a chance we do have a hit on a possible trade today. If the 5-minute breaks that 200 and we make a beautiful flag here, I'll take this gap of the VRVP right back up to look at that. I'll have my signal and a gap of the VRVP. So both things will come into play. What is the VRVP? What the heck am I saying? Some people call it the VPVR. Head on over to your indicators. Type in VRVP, all right? Visible Range Volume Profile. What is that? It's this blue and yellow thing on the right side of my screen. If I take it off, you won't see it, right? Bang. Now you don't know. What is he using? What does he do? Why does he use that? It's very simple. The way this was taught to me, all right, is this idea. When someone's trading, they're looking for where a lot of people are buying and selling. That's why supportive resistance is so key. Now, whenever I see a gap in the VRVP, price action is going to fall pretty fast through it. So, if we get back above this and I see a flag on the 5, there's a good chance we rip right back up to 107.2. We get above this area, we can rip all the way back to a 108.8 because these are, see this, the gap. See the gap? And I call it like trick-or-treating. Like if there's a street with a bunch of lights on, then you look down the next few streets, and you're like, we're not going down those streets. No one's giving candy. But here's tons of lights. We're going to go down that street. It's very similar. That's where the volume is. You don't want to go where there's no volume. So this tells me if we do get a bounce off this discount, you know, you can just tell 107.6, 107.250, and that area will be a great place to take some profit. There's a bunch of liquidity up there, and that's where a bunch of people will take profit off of the VRVPN. The VRVPN, the VPVR, the VRVPN. That's crazy, right? I have a VRVPN. How do you use that virtual reality VPN, Sammy? So, moving forward, yeah. And again, remember, I'm more bearish than bullish unless Bitcoin gets back above 106.5 and 106.268. Like, that's how I am right now. Or is it 106? It's like 106.300. Thank you so much for jumping on in. Shout out to everybody that gave a super chat, supports my channel, hits the like button. You people are absolutely unbelievable. Thank you so much for showing up every single day here on the channel, no matter what. Keeping the stream alive the last 3 days has been a very it was hard. Waking up at 5 in the morning and when people are like, come out here, go here, meet me. And I'm like, man, I got to go to bed early. I'm in Vegas. You want to party all night in Vegas, but I'm really proud of the discipline my mom and father instilled in me. And, I didn't drink any alcohol. I gambled for I don't know, maybe an hour last night of playing some craps. I saw Crypto Billy. He had this awesome system where he was playing roulette. And he had this range. And I saw him make a bunch of money. I saw him do 2 trades in a row. And he turned $40 into 180. He did it twice. He turned 300 into $700 and he called it a day, man. And he left with his money too. I saw Crypto Billy leave with his money. Super disciplined, man. He had a good time. Smart people, man, leave with their money from the casinos, bro. It's a rare move. So look, we're looking for this to be a possible cup and handle. You see this? I didn't open up a long or a short. My trader instinct's starting to tell me they're going to short squeeze these people back up. Somewhere back up here to 106.487 or even back up to 106.9. The 5-minute breaks that 200 MA, I would execute along on that. So no, I'm not going to take the head short on the 2-hour time frame, even though it may very well play out. I'm going to wait for the 5-minute to give me a little more confirmation. If the 5-minute rolls over, it's basically in an hour. We're over here. Then the 2-hour short starts to look better. But if 2 hours we're up here and the 21's curving, it won't look that much different on the 2-hour because the candle will just be a shift and a wick. But the 5-minute will give you a parameter. And you'll be able to take advantage of the call based on that 5-minute. So that's why I wouldn't long unless we get above the 5-minute 200 with the 21 and the flag and bang, bang, bang. But I do see how there could be a move here. So be careful if you're thinking of shorting. You may get caught up in a nasty short squeeze here on a low volume Friday. They're going to see whoever has the fear. If the fear, now and then, is the fear high? If the fear is high, let's make an assumption that most people are going to short the market. Right? Because they got that feeling, oh man, it's going to go down. Oh, I should make some money when it goes down. So if the fear starts getting higher, you have to think more people are shorting. If more people are shorting, they're probably going to move the price back to the upside. Again, all that doesn't matter. You don't want to kind of play with that in your mind. It's cool to talk about, but don't trade on that stuff. Trade on the fact if you're below or above a 200 MA. I see all these people think and plan and dream, and I'm like, dude, just do what you're supposed to do. Stop. Don't reinvent the wheel, my dad used to say. Remember, these patterns people have given us since the 1300s and the Asian markets. This comes from years and years of data. No one's trying to lie to you. No one's trying to manipulate you when they teach you pattern trading. It's a real skill that has been going down for hundreds of years. Yeah, analyst predicts big drop for Bitcoin as price as bearish patterns pressure mount after 100. It was 112, the all-time high. Wow, the SEC drops Binance. All right, huge win for crypto. The Securities and Exchange Commission dismissed its lawsuit against the crypto exchange Binance, according to a court filing Thursday. The latest example of the watchdog walking back Biden-era cases against key digital asset companies. Huge win for crypto today. Binance said in a statement posted on X, thank you to the SEC Chairman Paul Atkins and the Trump team for pushing back against regulation by enforcement. A joint filing by the SEC, Binance, and former Binance CEO Changpeng Zhao noted that the regulator had in January set up a task force dedicated to helping the commission develop a regulatory framework for crypto assets. Awesome. And then they're like, but however, Bitcoin, So this is what we're watching. You break above the 200 MA, the 21 comes, we long. We stay tight. The 2 hour short looks most likely, and we're going to know in the next hour and a half really what's likely going to happen. So that's great insight. Key, I feel very confident about this analysis. I know that if someone was listening to this, they could make sense of it. If they're a trader or a beginner, they could use this information to properly assess the market and possibly take advantage. Help themselves pay the rent with that technical analysis, man. Bit of a Adam and Eve right there too. So I can see the short. I know a great place to position myself, but I want to make sure all the parameters are correct and everything kind of fits nice and tight. All right. Again, I'm more bearish than bullish because you're below key levels and you keep making lower highs. The bulls have to show me something. Right now, the bears are in control. It's more likely you're going to continue down. Remember that. The odds are more likely you're going down right now. You're starting to go lower and lower below multiple 200 MAs. That tells me we're about to start dropping further to the downside. It just is what it is. Okay? And there you are. And that's why I'm watching the 5-minute time frame here. Tighter in that zone. So there we go. Let's take a look at, now I want to look at, and again, remember we looked at this just yesterday? We looked at tether dominance, and it looked like it was jumping up. Like people were basically tethering up a little bit. Tether dominance is how much money is in tether compared to the rest of the market. Last time I looked at it, I said, I had this line. See? Let's take a look. I remember in the macro technical analysis video, I got some sketchy information. I could see how the daily, we could get back above the daily on the US tether dominance, and we just closed a candle, or we may close a candle today above the 200 MA. See this shoulder, head, right shoulder in a way? There's some bullish divvy here too that's playing out. That swings up, that swings down, that's reversal. So this tells me yes, people are going to take profits out of Bitcoin, and it's probably likely going to pull back. And tether dominance looks like it's going to move. You get that daily candle to close above the 200 MA, that's going to solidify the fact that there's likely going to be a bit of a long. Now, people are going to sell out of altcoins into Bitcoin. We want to see Bitcoin dominance rising or going sideways. Look, Bitcoin dominance is going to rise too with tether dominance. That's a bearish sign. Okay? I'm just telling you. When tether dominance and Bitcoin dominance are both look like they're going to go up, that's not what you're looking for if you're looking for a big pump, altcoin season. Why? What am I saying? Well, right now, altcoins take a bigger hit when Bitcoin dumps. So if Bitcoin's going to take a big dump, people are going to sell out of their altcoins and hang out in Bitcoin, which raises Bitcoin dominance. They're also going to sell out of altcoins and Bitcoin and hang out in Tether, which raises Tether dominance. So when I see Bitcoin and Tether dominance rising together, it tells me that we're going to, people are selling altcoins and Bitcoin, you know what I mean? Or they're selling altcoins into Bitcoin. They're selling altcoins and other high-risk assets into Bitcoin and into altcoins, you see, out of altcoins, right? And so Bitcoin's a safe haven, the Tether's a safe haven, and you see that the dominance together want to rise. Not the best perspective right now, but you can see that daily wants to rip. You have the low, the higher low. I see this coming up a little bit more, and Bitcoin dominance pumping out of that fear that altcoins are going to take a big hit. So that's why I watch Bitcoin dominance and Tether dominance together, and you can kind of get a good idea of what's happening. The DXY, let's take a look at the DXY. DXY, honestly, it's in its own struggle. Shoulder, head, shoulder bounced up, but did a bearish retest of that pattern. Let's take a look if I can see some perspective here on the DXY. And this is the daily time frame on the DXY. DXY is the dollar index, okay? I always feel like that's the flag here. There's your measured move out the flag right here. Bang, right? And it suggests you go lower, somewhere all the way down here to 97.75, right? Or 94.65. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, too. It just doesn't look amazing at all. the DXY. It's trying to curve with a bit of a double bottom there. See that little curve, but he kind of double bottomed. You see that on the DXY? So what we're looking for is some type of bearish retest, a pullback. Even the weekly, look, I mean, the weekly has some hidden bullish. I mean, that swings down while that swings flat. It's like bullish divergence. Interesting. It's an exaggerated bullish div. We call that exaggerated bullish divergence. But look, I mean, I want those cat ears to play out, though. That looks like cat ears to me, and cat ears loves to dump. I mean, that's a beautiful set. We need him to just announce some random no tariffs again, and then boom, everything just goes right back down, you know? So this little bump really was due to the tariffs reinstated. It got people, you know, scared, pushed them back into the US dollar for a second, got some people kind of running out of the markets. That's just what you see, right? That's that herd mentality, that runaway mentality, that fear, the fake emotion acting real, people giving into that fear. You know, shoulder, head, right shoulder. I'd say, you know, let's make sure it doesn't get back above 100.535. Gets above there, we have to start thinking it could be an even bigger pullback. But it's shoulder, head, right shoulder. And this could dump when when Bitcoin dumps. They could dump together. Just remember that. It's not the DX, it's not the US Tether dominance. They look close, but they're not the same. They're not exactly the same. Okay. DXY. Let's take a look at the total 3 in all of cryptocurrency, man. It was looking nice. What happened here to these altcoins? Why are they struggling? Wow, look at that, huh? Look at that. And we were looking at the altcoins. I said they need a bounce. As long as they bounce, we get tight. I said we got ourselves a bit of a move here. So we're looking for the altcoins to get super tight inside of the total market cap, total 3 of all the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you can see we kind of double topped here. This has been a very tough cycle for the altcoins. Like, it's been basically a swing trade cycle. Like, every time they're up somewhat, you sell them off. And then you wait for a big nasty dump, you DCA, and then whenever they're up a little bit, you sell them off. And that's been basically, for whatever reason, been the strategy in the cycle. Like, they bounce from the lows. Now we got to say that, you know, it's sad, but that triangle's a wrap now. So the last 8 hours, altcoins took a hit. People sold altcoins off. They're getting scared. Bitcoin is making them fear that there's going to be a bigger pullback. And so if you're in big altcoins right now, you know, I've DCA'd into things, and I'm still in the things at the very low, like Solana. When I started getting in very, very early, we started buying Solana at $12, $30, you know, and swing trading it. Made a good bag, then started putting those swing trades into long-term positions, then DCA'd finally, and that's kind of where we are right now, right? So I only have coins that I bought in the bear market on the low, and I added XCN when it was super, super low, but even since then, I've been watching it. Like, that has Adam and Eve vibes to me, like double top vibes. That's crazy, because it says that you're going to take another hit in these altcoins. Also, the altcoins are below the 4-hour 200 MA. That's a bearish sign for me. A bearish sign for me, so wow. Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's sitting at 105.5. It's like, it's flat. It's flat. There's no one buying and no one selling. All the whales are asleep after partying all night in Las Vegas. All the biggest traders that trade Bitcoin are in one big place. You know what I mean? So everything that I said is still on the table. Nothing has changed. We're just basically in the same place. Let's see if the 1 minute's cracking the 200. No, more like getting rejected by the 200. You see that? That's a head and shoulder pattern. That's a shoulder. That's a head. That's a right shoulder. I see that dumping down. That's a possible scalp short right there. 68% chance you're going to make it further back down to about 105, 458 in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Again, I could be wrong, but that looks likely. You take that for what you want. Wow, so Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY. I'd like to look at the S&P futures. But you'd think with tariff nonsense that they took a hit too. All right? Yeah, down 0.2% today. And not a big deal. Wow, look at that shoulder. So they faked the market. Like, they faked a huge push of the market. Made everyone believe that the market was shifting. Wow, they're getting very manipulative even in the S&P starting to look like an altcoin, man. Yeah, it is. You know, you got the Fed, you've got Trump and tariffs, you've got support, you know, supply and demand. Then you have a new age technology. You have talks of making the stock market 24/7. Okay. Wow, like you need a bounce here. Otherwise, this is going to be a double top kind of bearish div, and you're going to start to break down. Yikes. So basically, 8 hours, I'd say 16 hours from now, we need to be somewhere up in here. Otherwise, we're going to be falling further to the downside here, and there's a big gap that could take us all the way back down to that key area. 5,691. Man, for the S&P futures. To me, it looks like they're printing money. We're very oversold. A lot of times this fear induces long, you know, it's a good place to long when everyone else is freaking out. So you got to do whatever makes you happy, though. Look, we're piercing the 200 MA there on the 1 minute time frame. Maybe this head and shoulder doesn't play out. I like that. And again, I'm sticking to my strategy. When the 5 minute breaks the 200, I'm going to attempt a long. That's what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do and why I'm going to do it, where I'm going to do it, and how I'm going to do it. And I'm waiting for the price action to meet me so I can take advantage of my plan. And that's what I'm doing. That's basically how trading works. You should have a plan and you should execute the plan. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And stick to your plan. Don't let anyone get involved. Don't let anyone get in your head. Stay true to what you know is what you're doing, your thing. Look, there's also a bit of a symmetrical triangle right there. You see that? Let's see. A lot of lack of follow through lately. Like a little pump turns into nothing. We'll see. Can this actually be the one that gets above the 5 minute 200 MA and gets us out of this? Can this cup and handle break out to the target at about 107K, 106,933 for Bitcoin? Bitcoin getting a nice bounce finally back at 105,687. You can see how I'm not getting rocked and wrecked like 90%. There are a bunch of people lost money since I've been live. Think about it. I just want you to understand that. A bunch of people have lost money since I've been live across this market. They woke up and, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and they're getting beat down. Remember that. Every time you don't lose, every time you learn something from the market, remember how many people got liquidated that day, absolutely rocked and wrecked. If you're in a trading group, you're learning and you're having good, you're disciplining yourself and you're gaining an edge each day, you're doing better than 95% of the market. Remember that. If you're watching this channel, you're doing not better than 95% of the market because you actually have knowledge that's going to help you get disciplined. Period. Like, it's going to differentiate you from the herd that does whatever they want and plays on emotions. Look, we showed you to watch this. And again, I even saw that it could have been a head and shoulder, but I said, be careful. There's a cup and handle here. Now we're above the 200 MA. We're actually getting some follow through. That is a short squeeze right there if I've ever seen one to the upside. And I do have Bookmap on my laptop running right now, so I can kind of take a look at what's happening there for Bookmap. Wow, beautiful little short squeeze there for Bitcoin. So I knew to be careful and not to jump into that short too early. That everyone really bearish. And again, think about it. The fear, right? You were at 64, you dropped down. So the fear is going to induce shorts. And we said, right? Possibly, that's going to create a squeeze. So you don't want to be with the herd, man. The herd's going to be full of emotions. They're going to run on into that short. Oh, it has to dump. I got to make money on that dump. See, there's my strategy right there. The close above the 200 MA. Right there, I could trade that. The 21's a little far away, though, telling me to be careful. But that is one of my trading strategies, just opening up a trade right now. The 1 minute closed above the 200 MA. You open up a trade right now, and you go with it. Not the best on Fridays, but it works. It can work, Look at that. I wouldn't be surprised if we start the boom now to the upside. And again, oh, wait, this is the 5 minute. I thought I was watching the 1 minute. So sorry. Oh, so the 1 minute's above it. Again, the 1 minute closed the candle. Bang. Look, it did its thing, man. It did its thing. Made a very ugly pattern, but it played out. It played out nonetheless, you see? Wow. So look, it's getting close. Ooh, I've been using the 3 minute actually on BitTimeX2 and weeks. It's just been it's been an interesting time frame because then I have to wait for the 5 and the 3 minutes pretty strong. So yeah, this tells me that this could continue to roll. I don't like the 21 has to start to curve. Let me show you what I'm saying. I need to see this white line start to curve up and move with price. If the white line starts dragging down, we go up, we're likely coming back down again. This is just a false move. You want to watch the stochastics RSI. They're also getting overbought. Better when you get down here and you're oversold. You see what I'm saying? Overbought and oversold, man. Man, I didn't see Psychedelic Catfish when I was out here. I thought for sure I would see my man, Catfish, baby. I got to text you. I just thought about you, man. Maybe we can get a lunch in before I leave. You were the first person ever drove 2 hours to see me in Utah. My first time out here, you said, I got to see my mentor, man. You mean everything to me. You've changed my life. And you drove all the way out here 2 hours from Utah. I think it was 3 years ago. And, man, you blew my mind, bro. Like, I was just like, you know, and you were like, you mean everything. You've changed my life. I'm on such a better wavelength. Thank you for everything, man. Sam Price, you're the truth. Shout out to Psychedelic Catfish. If you're out there, man, God bless you, brother. I'm going to text you right now. I'm sorry. I didn't thought it just hit me right now. I'm like, my man, Psychedelic, man. So, are we above the 200 MA? We are. Is this sustainable? No. Why? Because the 21 is not really following with price. You can see how we got the sell-off on the wick there. And again, it could just be top of the range. We're coming back down to the bottom of the range again. Let me clean this up for you. I know I got a lot going on. I'm just live showing you different ideas all at the same time. That's all. That's why it's convoluted. But when I give you a nice analysis, it's going to be clean, tight, and right. But look, tweezer tops there now, a little overbought. So that's why waiting for the 21 to touch is so amazing. I found that's the highest probability play in the game. Like there's playing Baccarat, banker, and I think playing, someone explained to me, and then playing craps. The pass, you put the pass line, then you put odds about the pass line. Betting odds on the pass line has the highest percentage of you winning. All right? Putting odds on the pass line has the highest percentage of you winning. People don't realize that, but it's the best trade in the entire casino. Now, not even worth going to a casino, really. I mean, they're great, but you can do great in life and never enter one, right? I do it maybe once or twice, once a year or something, right? For like an hour, I'm not, this is where I rock and roll. This is my life, right? I'm in the charts every single day. I don't need to be playing. I don't gamble on sports. I don't bet on the Pacers. I don't do any of that nonsense, man. My dad, basically, when I was a kid, my dad looked me in the face and he says, never gamble. It's a sucker's game. He said, don't gamble on sports. He said, I never want to see you gambling on sports, my dad said. And he taught me real young. I watched him gamble on sports. He would put a huge bet in on the Super Bowl a lot. He'd go downstairs with his one phone. I knew he was calling his bookie. He'd get this little phone out. So crazy, right? And my dad would bet on Super Bowl games, Sometimes I know he was like, I think he put like $3,000. Like he'd have to, one time I know he was pacing, trying to make 15 racks or something. He told me like later on, he's like, man, can't even watch the game. You're pacing. He told me it's not worth it, Sam. Never bet. It's a sucker's game, my dad told me over and over again. So I don't bet. It's not my thing. I don't bet on sports. I do like squares with friends, And everyone says, but you're a trader, But to me, trading is not betting like that. I actually have stop losses. I've studied the markets for 20 years. I can see perspectives, movements, mathematical shapes, patterns that other people can't see. I can gain an edge. And there's some guys that gain an edge in the sports betting world, right? I'm sure there's a way to do it if you do it all the time, but that's like all day long, constantly. And maybe the injury report, seeing what team has the most injuries, and then that's the thing I would do. I would scan injury reports, right? For basketball. Think about it. Say one of the players got slightly injured a couple days before, and basketball, he might just get that, and then like Jason Tatum fell off. I'm not saying but he got hurt, right? The whole point is you could exploit anything if you get enough data, all right? So that's something I would do if I was ever going to do betting, which I never would. It would be something like I'd be looking for injury reports, and I'd be looking, and I'd only take bets where I could see that like one of the best players is out. You know what I mean? Every day there's going to be one of the best players out on a certain team. That team's likely going to struggle with high percentage, right? So why not, maybe play the under? Stuff like that. Like, I could see that. There's some perspective there. But for me, it's still just, But again, I could see how people take more data in there. My whole point is, I've never been. And you think because I trade that I'm a gambling man, but it's just not the case. I don't do that. I like to keep my money. I got into Bitcoin. I didn't think it was a gamble. The biggest risk in life is not taking a risk at all. You got to take risks. The people that have made the most money in the world, the people that have done the biggest changes, have done awesome things for the human race, they've taken some of the biggest risks. Elon Musk, I remember he always talks about when he sent that last rocket out, if that thing exploded, they were out of money, it was a wrap. And he put it all into it, and that last launch happened, and SpaceX was born. And he talks about what a thin line between success and failure. Everyone, and that's the beautiful thing. Because you're so close to failure to become successful, most people are afraid to do what you're going to do. So if you start grinding and hitting your, working at a high level, you're basically going to start creating a gap away from you and the average person. The average person isn't going to go through all that pain and anguish to get where they're going to go. They want to be comfortable. Comfortability is the end of progression. When you're comfortable, I used to be comfortable. I worked a night shift so I could do what I wanted to do and not have a boss on my shoulder. But then no one saw me. I didn't I didn't have that vibrance. I was alone all the time, late at night. It was cool, but for who I am, I needed to shine. I needed to meet people. I needed to get out into the world, and I knew that. But I had myself in the night shift because I wanted to stay comfortable. What did that comfortability do to me? It got me a paycheck that wasn't that great. Again, I grinded. I got into the union. It worked for me. God had a plan. He helped me no matter what. But I always had faith, and I always believed that somehow, some way, I was going to make it. And on my lowest days, a little voice would come and say, Sam, have no fear. You're meant to be a multimillionaire and change the world. You're just not. You haven't found your chi yet. And I said, but when am I going to find my chi? And I saw so many people doing their thing, and I felt so confused, everybody. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense 100% now. Think about it. You grow up. Someone in here, there's someone on this chat right now that's meant to be a billionaire and change their life and do something that is probably 1 in a million. And there's a few of you out there, maybe more of you, than I realize. Now, when I say that, it's like you're going to compare yourself to the average person and say, okay, I got to go get a job, make 80 to 120 grand a year, then I got to work my way up. But if that's not your destiny, you're going to have a hard time assimilating. And then when you have a hard time assimilating, you're going to think you're a failure. You get it? It makes sense. Like, if you're built for something bigger, you're not going to assimilate to the average world. And you're going to struggle. And that struggle is going to make you think you're a failure. But it's because the opportunity waiting for you is something that no one even knows. Like, I thought I had to make movies. I thought I had to I'll become a director of photography. All these jobs that already existed. Little did I know that I was going to create my own logo, my own life, my own destiny, and create my own job. See, that's what God was planning for me, but I didn't know that. So when I couldn't get jobs, when I didn't assimilate, when I didn't fit into society, I thought I was a failure and a mess. You get it? It makes sense, and I know I'm talking to someone out there right now that is struggling so hard, and these words are a blessing to them because they're the match to your frequency that can untrap you from the mental block you were in. I know exactly how to get you out because I got unlocked out by Jim Rohn. I watched him every single day online till he changed my mind. He made me realize that my mind was in control. I was always in control. It was my perspective that created my reality. As long as I worked on how I looked at the world, change the way you look at the world, and the way the world will change. The way you look at the world and the world will change. Right? You are the change. I remember there was a time I was really struggling I was like 25, 26. I was just struggling. My older sister had this great job. She was grinding. She just seemed to have it all put together. She was moving up in the world. Every couple of years, she had another raise. She was taking on bigger accounts, and I was still on the night shift. 5 years went by, and I saw a lot of people in my life expand and go places, And I remember going to my sister one day, and I was just distraught. I would call her when I was really messed up because I don't want to stress my mom out, my dad. And she was the one person that could talk me off a ledge when I just really needed it. And I remember one day I was like, man, and she goes, you need to be the change. And I remember saying that. I think she went to some therapy, and she said, maybe I can help you with things that I know. And she said, you need to be the change. And, you have to be the change, everybody. And, that stuck with me to this day. Whenever I have, a success and I see what happened, I'm like, man, and remember, there's always someone that's going to tell you what you need to hear at that one moment in time. It may not be what you want to hear. It's what you're supposed to hear. That can change your perspective, right? So look, the 5-minute isn't getting above the 200. It keeps getting rejected. This is telling us that it's more likely, look, I get a symmetrical in a symmetrical. You see that? It's interesting, right? I never done that, but that's, if we grow out of this one, we're going to grow into this one. And again, remember, we're not above key areas. Bitcoin has been playing out. The odds are more likely we're going further to the downside to 104,278 and possibly lower. All right, friends and family. So I'm more bearish than bullish. And again, we're looking at a possible short using the 2-hour time frame and the 200 MA. And shout out to Weeks, man. Thank you so much. This is all working great. It's saving everything and looking really nice. I appreciate that. The one thing that, it's been beautifully implemented. So again, I don't long unless the 5-minute gives me the model. I have a model to long, and I won't long until I do it. Just strict discipline. Only take the trade if the trade is there. Find out how to have a model by studying the markets over time. And then you're going to have perspective. That's not going to be something you can do overnight. I'm sorry. That takes time. You know? It takes time. That'd be 800 for 3,000 in the short. Interesting enough, it's still pretty sketchy here. RDO, every day now, Weeks is adding a new listing, man. They're doing a really good job with content listings. They want to be on par with MEXC in the listings. They're going to work as hard as they can to become the greatest exchange in the game. I'm telling you, they have one of the best CEOs in the game right now. My man. Just got promoted to COO because he does what he does. He walks the walk. He don't just talk the talk. And again, on Low Volume Friday, expect chop. Expect chop. Now, see how this is curving the 21? This is a good sign. See how the 21 just curved right there? That's a subtle thing that most people wouldn't notice. But that curve of the 21 tells me that we could start to get a move on. Because remember when I said when that last pump happened, I knew it was lackluster. Why? The 21 didn't move with price. Because the 20, now, had we gone above this 200 MA and the 21 had curved like this, then I would have said, oh, it's very likely we're going to get the model. I can tell where the model's going to play out based on where the 21 is. Look, you got high stochastics and the 21 wasn't there. But that pull-up is good now because if we can pump again, now there's that perspective that the 21 can come into play and then bang, bang, bang. This may go way over your head and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Just keep coming back every day and it's going to start making sense. Let your subconscious mind sponge this information. Let it just flow into your brain. Take it in for what it is and then you can work on it as you move. Let your mind piece this information. Your mind is way more powerful than you realize. Just give it sleep. Give it, work out. Give it endorphins. Eat right. And then give it the good information. And your mind will work well for you. But you got to treat it right. If you dump alcohol in your brain 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week, that's ethanol. It's the only substance that goes through your stomach lining into your blood, bro. Nothing else does that. When you're drinking alcohol, it turns into ethanol. You know that, right? That's what's happening. You're not getting high off alcohol. You're getting high off ethanol. Your body is transforming it through your stomach. It's going through your stomach lining into your blood, right? I believe it crosses it gets, I don't know, man. And me and my sister were talking too. They call it spirits for a reason, man. Have you ever been drunk and felt like you weren't the same person? I have hundreds of times in my life. I was sick of that feeling. I never wanted to feel that way again. I wanted to feel completely control of myself, know myself. And when I drink alcohol, I'm so far from who I am. I lose my ability to fine-tune my nature. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Because we're all struggling to find ourselves every single day. And every time we throw something in there that takes us from ourselves, this is a cool perspective. It's almost like you're in a relationship with yourself. Picture a relationship with someone else. What if they were drinking all the time? They couldn't love you. They couldn't be there for you. The alcohol was their thing, So what if you're two people? You're getting to know that person. Would you really get to know them really well if they were always drunk? No. Right? How do you get to know yourself if you're always drunk? Think about it. You're a soul being getting to know yourself as a human. You're almost two people. You're always trying to create that relationship with the inner being. The more you take away from the inner being, the harder it's going to be to discipline yourself when the time is right. This is going to affect your trading. It's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect how many kids you have, the family you create, your confidence in yourself. This is all connected, my friends. It may go over some people's heads. They may have no idea what I'm talking about. That's fine. I'm talking to the people that get this. I'm talking to the people that are vibing with this information. This is connecting to their, deep inside, their prefrontal cortex. They're like, man, I'm locked in with this guy right now. Because if you're elevating where I'm elevating and you're starting to manifest, this makes 100% sense to you. You know exactly why I'm saying this and what's happening. You also want price action to just do whatever it wants. And I'm showing you what's happening, right? And I can't force it. I got to wait for the timing to be right. I got to wait for the proper probability to reveal itself. If it does not, there's no reason to force a trade. There's no reason to go all in here until we get the proper perspective. I got a couple things that my mind is starting to form, right? This is like being in battle, right? The captain of the army doesn't know exactly how the battle's going to go, but he looks at it every couple of hours and he gets information from the ground and the sea and the land and in the air, and he assesses the situation. Right now, I'm like getting information from the battlefield. And I'm like, all right, we're getting tight. We're playing with the 200, possible Adam and Eve, and I'm taking in each thing, right? This cup and handle. So if there's a huge rip to the upside, I'm like, well, there was a cup and handle. There was a higher low. Okay, and we got above the 200 and the 5. I'm going to be like, that makes perfect sense to me. Someone else is going to short this right now, only seeing a bear flag on the 1 hour, and they're going to get rocked, and they're going to be like, oh, they manipulated that bear flag. It's not my fault. It's their fault. You know what I mean? You got to blame yourself for everything. I see a lot of people, they blame themselves for their vacation. And what do you mean, Sam? Like, well, they're like, look at me. I'm on vacation. I'm doing it. But they don't blame themselves for their losses, or the job that they worked for 10 years and never decided to leave. You know what I mean? My whole point is everyone takes credit for the good things, but they don't want to take blame for the bad things in their life. You're the reason for everything in your life. If you have someone in your life that's not doing well for you, that's lowering your frequency, it's your fault. It means you're for some reason deciding to hang out with low frequency. I don't know why, right? So think about it. Everything and everyone in your life should be helping you push forward. If someone's in your life and they're negative, if they're making it tough for you to move and progress, it's hard, but we got to remove those people from our lives. I've had to do it many, many times in my life, okay? And sometimes you love these people, you want to help them, but if they keep tearing you down, there's nothing you can do. Understand? Yeah. It happens to good people because we have so much compassion, we get caught up in our hearts, and we don't want to, My own personal hell is a vacation. If I'm not doing something meaningful each day, I go crazy, 100%. Everyone asks me why I keep doing the stream. Everyone's like someone was watching me today, he was richer than me, and I probably has more money than me, and he was like, man, you go live every day, like, don't you want to get out of that? And I was like, I want to get into it, man. What do you mean? Like, this is my life. I'm so in love with this. I'm in love with the hardest working, like I'm in love with the fact that I wake up at 5:45 every time here. That was tough. It hasn't been easy at all. No way. No risk, no reward, right? 100%. Sam, the modern age philosopher. Amen. No risk, no reward. God bless you, brother. Where are my peoples, man? Shout out to everybody here on the live. Put a 333 if you're vibing out right now, if you're excited for the future, and if you're not letting the short-term price action take you down. Amen. Interesting, Jamie, but I feel like you can read anywhere on earth and maybe just a temple in Japan while banking that Bitcoin. Hey, Lifer, just started investing in crypto. I'm 30 now. Looking to be a crypto millionaire by 40. Yeah, you have a 10-year plan, my friend? That's a great way to accomplish a goal. But actually, not only do you have a 10-year plan, but you got to start. I learned the average person has a lot of doubt, so they're not going to write a plan because they don't think the plan's going to happen, so they don't plan at all. And when you don't plan at all, you become someone else's plan. That's why fear stops you from making plans, see? Because you're like, oh, I'm not going to execute that plan. Then you don't execute it, and then the next time you write a plan, you don't do it again, you start a habit. You don't believe in yourself anymore. I used to do that. I used to tell myself I was going to the gym next week, never made it. I'm going to the gym next week, never made it. By the third time I told myself I was going to the gym, I didn't believe myself anymore. I said, man, you're so full of nonsense, I don't want to listen to you no more. Then I was upset with myself. I had dis-ease, and I would go drink alcohol because I didn't like how I felt inside because I had a voice telling me what to do. I refused to do it. I knew how to stay disciplined. I knew how to live a great life, and I didn't listen. How crazy is that, right? And then I saw my life deteriorate, and it wasn't going the way I wanted to go, and it was my fault. And until I realized it was my fault, I wasn't going to change. I kept blaming my dad. I kept blaming up and downs. I kept blaming all this and the world and, ADHD, I'm bipolar, I reason labels, whatever they want to call you. You go to the doctor, they try to pump you with drugs. All you had to do was work out and create endorphins. Once I found working out, my whole life changed. My whole life changed, everybody. Because it creates endorphins in the mind, and endorphins help you stay positive. It's a chemical reaction that actually makes you more positive. Think about it. You're gaming the system by working out. Don't you understand? You ever put salt on a steak and it tastes better? You know what I mean? It's not the best metaphor, but it, that chemical reaction makes the steak taste better. Send the right endorphins into your brain. Start working out. See what happens to your life. Everybody here that doesn't work out, you start working out. Within a month, I guarantee you're going to have positive results in your mental framework, in your relationships, in the way you act with your kids and your wife. Working out will change your vibrance. A lot of the multimillionaires, billionaires, people that make a lot of money and run Fortune 500 companies, they live and die. They swear by their morning workout. They swear by their morning workout. I wear pants every day on this channel. I got pants on. Everyone thinks that I show up like Kevin O'Leary and I don't put pants on. That's just absolutely ridiculous. I have pants on, all right? I wear pants on in my house. You know why? Because we have a nanny, we have a chef. And if I walked out of my office with my boxers on, it would be a bit absurd, okay? And she's not there every day, but you know what I'm saying? I can't walk out of my office with my boxers on or even just like sweatpants, you know? Like, I care even what, you know? I want to see my daughters have their father walk out with pants on and a nice belt so that she doesn't hang out with some guy that wears, you know, I don't know, it just... So, yeah, and there's the funny joke. There's the pants, right? People are like, he has no pants. Can't trust pogs, though. They ain't loyal. What a pog? What? When you find the correct partner, your life will flourish. I also am very lucky. I have a beautiful wife that has helped me stay mentally stable for all these years. Like, she's seen all my ups and downs, and she knew exactly how to, like, basically counter my energy to help me become successful. Behind every great man is a greater woman, and I stand behind that. And I'm not just saying that to butter up my wife when I get home. I truly believe she's amazing, you know. Better walking out with your boxers on than your boxers off. Sam Schwaggin, not just saying pants, but matching pants. Yeah, you know. Cocky pants, man. Sam, for the Irish British pants equals underwear trousers, bro. Trousers. Interesting. Pants is a thing of Americans. Rest of the world is happy on shorts. You guys are funny, man. Gotta dress daily. It's part of the day starting. 100%. 100%. People have no idea what it's like to have a great woman. That will change your life. Shout out to Patrick Bateman. Funny, man. Patrick Bateman talking about a great woman, right? So the guy from the American Psycho. It's just funny to me. Hey, God bless you, man. Thank you. Love your commitment. Hey, I love your commitment. You wouldn't be able to say that if you didn't stay committed to the channel. You wouldn't know about my commitment if you weren't committed. How funny is that? Everybody here that knows my commitment is committed. You see what I'm saying? And that's the key. Let's take a look at HBAR here. Someone said HBAR pumping? I don't think so. No, not at all. Red on the... Maybe you're watching the smaller time frame or something? No, I don't see no pump on HBAR. I need me a husband like Sammy. Shout out to Sharano Mutai. You'll get one. You'll get one. That's your plan. That's the frequency you will, keep that on your mind. Yeah. Keep that on your mind and you will make it. You will make it. Pendendus. Bellico, don't spill the beans. Amen. Carolina Crypto, you're speaking to me. Sounds like my life right now. Hey, because you know why? I've been there through multiple... See, I lived the 20s struggling. I lived the 30s with the first kid. I struggled with my wife. We almost didn't make it. I've been through so many different pockets of life. I can blend some information for you. It may just help you change your perspective. I truly appreciate you more than your word can fully express, but this will have to do for now. Can we look at Soul, please? Wayne Moore with the 777s, baby. Let's take a look at Soul. You rock, dude. Shout out to Vegas Claw. Get the kilt and the bagpipes. Okay. Tarzay had a good wick to the downside. Let's look at TAI. Where's that thing? I haven't gone into it in a while. I would like to go back. It looked like it was going to do numbers, right? Let's look at TAI here. TARS Protocol. Wow, back at 11. Wow, that's crazy, right? Because we were getting in here, and I'd still be up on my trade had I stayed in it. I sold it there, but wow. The breakout, the break back down, man, this has been crazy. And so either it's going to fall, look, it's either going to follow some rising wedge move here. Where's Bitcoin right now? 105,700. Honestly, the fact that we sat here this whole time and the 21 is starting to curve further to the upside, that's a good sign. This is starting to show a move here. See how the 3 minutes making a bit of a flag? And the 21, now, see, I could trade the 3 minute right now. Let me show you what's happening. This is BitTinex. I like BitTinex for trading small time frames. They also have the 3 minute time frame ready to go. It's awesome. So here we are. Now this is technically my model. We're above the 200 MA, okay, and we're touching the 21A moving average. I'd say about 70% of the time, with heavy volume and good movement, almost 90% of the time this works. On a Friday, it's more like maybe 6 out of 10 times. So, but if you trade it over and over again consistently, you're still going to have a higher probability win rate, right? So this is the scalp trade. And again, while this is happening, it teaches us not to open up the head short yet on the 2-hour time frame. We haven't given up on that idea. You have to understand. We're just waiting for the small time frames to confirm the information, so we can take the best probability. So look, that's going to be 106.374. The stop loss is going to be at about 105.349. All right. And bang, and look, back at 105.5 here. And now that is basically a symmetrical triangle. These mainly don't. Remember, the bulls have to get above the next resistance. Now there's 105.8. Look, resistance, 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 resistance. Resistance there. Thank you so much for becoming a subscriber to the channel. We're on our way 97,000, almost 70 subscribers, on our way to 98,000 subscribers. And then that's only 2,000 away from 100K. We basically hit it. We did it. It's already happened because we know the consistency is going to get us there. We already hit 100K, man. We already did. But the number has to change. Right? We haven't seen the number yet. The number's got to change. I haven't opened up a long or short. You can see price has been choppy the entire stream. This whole entire trip to Vegas, price has been choppy. It's been chop city. Chop suey, right? My mom used to make American chop suey. I just thought about that. Okay, so what do you think about the weekend trading? Weekend trading is absolutely horrible. Only Aladdin's pants on the island, bro. Too hot for a suit here. Okay, yeah. You got to get those that linen. As much as I'm here for the tea, I equally enjoy when Sam gives life advice. As a young man in today's world, it's incredibly more and difficult to hear. Hey, God bless you, man. Bad Bunny, we love you, brother. I know I was struggling as a young man, and I would love to have heard this information and gained a perspective from someone that had made it. So I give out what I was begging for, and I never seemed to get back in. I didn't know how to find it. I needed a better mentor. I needed better information. I didn't have the right information. Okay, let's take a look here. Big time, someone asked about. Last time we looked at it was in this flag. They dolphin dumped it. I haven't looked at it in a long time. This coin was hot when it first came out. We traded it for a while. It seems like it was VC money, and they dumped the heck out of it, So someone, I don't know if they're still holding this, and you want to find out what's going to happen. Number one, I wouldn't touch it if it can't get back above 9 cents, I'm a swing trader now. I'm done buying the bottom unless I really like a coin, and it's like the greatest thing ever, but I don't know, man. That's pretty bearish. The daily's oversold, and you got a cup and handle. You could draw your Fibonacci and basically look for it to bounce off the 618 golden pocket. If that's the case, right? I wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole, man. I really wouldn't. Yeah, I would swing trade it if I ever saw it got above the 200 MA, and I'd take 9 back to maybe 17, and I'd call it a day, man. You're very risky buying the bottom here with the way Bitcoin's about to possibly pull back for the next couple of weeks. Again, you are buying the fear. You're not buying the premium. If you really like this project, fine, but I'm all set. But you do whatever makes you happy. I've noticed in every occasion it comes up, just generally, that's how people from Boston talk. Vegas, Bitcoin, Bitcoin lost. What, Vegas? What are you supposed to say, Vegas? No, it's Vegas, man. It's Vegas. Yeah. In Boston, we talk kind of like Canadians, man. Las Vegas. It's Las Vegas. I mean, V-E-G, Vegas. And the A raises the E. What do you say, Las Vegas? What are you, a vegan? Hey, Sam, much love. Can you look at virtual? Looks like it's retesting a pattern on the daily. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Moonwell on an absolute tear. Well is ripping? Are you kidding me? Moonwell is ripping? It's all right. It's above the daily 200 MA, but some wicks there. Let's take a look at it. Let me look at it here on Coinbase. Has more liquidity. The chart should look better. All right, there it is. It is absolutely ripping. You're spot on there. Moonwell just went from 3 cents all the way to 4.2. I mean, that's awesome. There's always something moving. And again, there's probably like a flag on the 5-minute time frame. Wow, there's a chance that this thing continues to rip. Look at this. You do what you want. You are chasing. It's Friday pump, but this thing looks like it could do some damage. Bitcoin, 105,450. But wow, man, that's a flag. See how the 21's curving? I could see this thing continue to 479. I'd watch this flag. It's already hot. It's got the volume. People are foaming, and not a lot of coins are pumping. Again, high risk, high reward. You gotta, Super chat, Ethereum, Sol, Virtual, and XCN. Let's take a look at Ethereum and see what's happening to ETH, baby, ETH. So I was looking at ETH in perspective out of this bigger move. I wanted to see it bounce, but it fell out of the channel again. And now you got a triple top for Ethereum, and it will follow Bitcoin's pullback. It almost doesn't make any sense, right? You're like, why wouldn't it just rip? Like, it just like... And again, usually the fear-induced induction of the move here. That's a falling wedge. Previous resistance is support. You'd be looking for a bounce back to the top of the channel. You'd be looking for a bounce back to the top of the channel, headed all the way up to about, 3,627, 3,627. Major rejection at 27, 2,800, But that's still a possibility with a stop below about 24.82, right? So it's still a possibility we could make the move. It's very oversold on the 4-hour time frame. Very oversold. That could also create a head and shoulder and then take us down, you see? Back to the 200 MA on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see where the 1 hour is. See, you're playing... Bitcoin lost the 1 hour 200 MA. That was the beginning of its downfall. Understand? Now, Ethereum's a little bit behind Bitcoin's dumpage. But you can see right there, we closed basically 4 candles below the 1 hour 200 MA. Remember, usually your next move is going to be the 2 hour 200 MA. Very close. Let's see the 3 hour. Yeah, and so this tells me that if you lose that level, you're coming down to bounce off the 3 hour 200 MA. All right, just very likely. Wake up at 3:30 in Hawaii for market open. West Coast ain't so bad. I feel so bad that you guys have to wake up at 3:30 for the market open. That's insanity. That's not cool. Yeah, like my whole life, because no. Gained back yesterday's losses today with a short and became a better trader. Hey, God bless you, man. God bless you for doing that. Spot on, my friend. Spot on. Nice job. Can we get the bounce back to the upside here? That's what we're looking for BTC. All right? Bounce, baby, bounce. And we barely been sideways the entire stream. Bitcoin's slumping now. And see, if we keep looking at the 5 and we notice that the 5 can't get above the 200. Look, rejections by the 200. That tells me that the bears are getting further and further in control. It's more likely to open up the 2 hour short. Understood? And there it is right there. So, I'm getting signals that the short is the more likely play here. When I get off that plane tonight, they go in somewhere down at 103.5 possibly, right? Didn't get that massive bounce back to the upside. The 200 MA right there and the 21 about to cross, it's a pretty bearish sign. And we could get continuation here. And I flip the chart upside down, you see? And it gives me perspective by flipping the chart upside down. It tells me that we could go lower. Someone asked about Sol and Virtual. Let's take a look at Sol and Virtual. Sol, USDT here on MEXC. Wow, Sol falling off. Crazy, man. All these coins on the daily look like they could do some damage. Nope. Sol falling to the downside, 160. That's crazy. Sol just dumped out of... Oh, my God. Last 2 days, look, it double topped off the daily 200 MA. Could not get above the daily 200. Technically, did it get stopped out yet? No, but I mean, dang. No good, man. It's just... That setup looked beautiful. Like Sol was going to rip. Now, maybe they rip it back up. They turn it into a bigger... Like this could end up becoming a shoulder, a head, or right shoulder if we get the bounce. That's why I just, if you go at consolidation, you get hit off. You just go at consolidation over and over again, you're just more likely to win. So people don't realize it's not about how many times you lose. It's about looking at the broader strokes of your trades. In a 2-month period, how many times did you win that actual strategy that you went after? And that's the key. You can't get caught up in the daily. You know, and if you keep losing, then you're going to have to change what you're doing. The strategy can't be implemented over and over again to the point of no return. You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't work like that. Okay. Let's see. Super Chat, Solana, Virtual, and XCN. XCN now probably falling off to the downside too with this Bitcoin move. You know what? It's in a better, it's looking money compared to the rest of the market, but I don't like that curve. Can't stand when a trend line, a 45, gets broken. I can't tell how many times I saw a subtle 45 and I was like, oh, I'll be fine, and it wasn't. Like, that was the beginning of a move. Maybe to the daily 200 MA. If you look at the weekly on this thing, though, the weekly looks pretty good. It's got higher lows and it's sideways. I don't know, though. It's just, you know, it's still a newer, like, it's, the liquidity is, 3-day charts getting oversold. Man, we need a bounce for these altcoins. Like, that's Solana, like, we need a bounce here. Ethereum's got to get that bounce. If Ethereum doesn't get the bounce, everything's going down the tubes. So I see double tops everywhere with resistance. The bounce changes it into a bull flag, and either that or you're losing to the down. This is, and maybe it's my jet lag. I just need to sleep a little more. But this, you know, I'm seeing a lot of sketchiness in the altcoins. Like, they look great for a second, and they've been doing this now for like 16 months, man. This has been a very difficult all season. You know, that's why I sold when I did just the other day. I'm taking what, I take what I can. I take profits way more than I ever did. You understand? Every single time. Let's take a look at Virtual, and that will be the last super chat here, everyone. And then I'm going to be running out of here. It's getting a little past 12 o'clock. Wow, even Virtual had the beautiful pump and gave it all back. Even a strong coin with good fundamentals. Again, it's been pumping since 53 cents. So you want to look at it on the daily time frame now and see kind of how big, how far away it is. And look, there's a bearish div. And so you would just hope that Virtual doesn't lose 164. But that would be your next place. It's retesting this low too at 208. Could it get a bounce? I got mixed signals. I mean, a lot of things are in bear div. Bitcoin back at 105.5, getting the bounce. Look at this. Every time it looks like it may, this is like, they're loving this, going after the shorts and the longs. Wow. Last 3 days was crazy. Not only have to wake up super early, running around, you know, with the 3-hour difference, and then the chop city of the price action. I can't wait to go home, have a good night's sleep, and like reset my home on. Man. Still a possible Adam and Eve there. Still a chance that this cup and handle breaks out. Will you look at the chop we've been in the entire stream? Just like yesterday. Same exact thing. All right? So weird. This is 105.1 and the 1551 on the convert. It was the same number. So weird. Anyway. Nobody cares, Sam. Ping pong kind of day. Yeah. Can you please check Shibby? What's the name of the bottom indicator? Stochastics RSI with bearish and bullish signals. Yes. Go up here. Type in RSI. All right? I can't spell. Type in RSI. And get in there with the stochastics RSI with divergences by neobutane. Just going to give you some divergences, help you see things from a different perspective. Truthfully, Doge hit 5 cents in the last 2023 and went to 47 in late 2024. There was opportunity. We can't be wasting it. But it comes. 100%, I agree with you. 2023 had that huge run-up. October through November, there was massive coins that pumped and did damage. You know? Injective USD, how you open in short position for Injective? That's a good idea. Injective tends to short pretty fast. There's a lot of stake that it does dump. Does anyone else see 4-hour bullish div on Bitcoin, or is it just my RSI on the wrong amounts? Using RSI 7 to 14 and see it mostly on the 7. I'll look at it for you. He says he sees bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. I mean, it's very subtle. Like if you were to, I don't see it. No. I don't see it. No. I don't think you have your stuff right. I mean, you know what? This is a little bit of bullish div. The indicator didn't pick it up. That stochastic's going up. Well, that's coming down. There's a little bit of bullish divergence there, but yeah. Remember, we're more bearish. Let's go over the parameters one more time. The safest bet is to wait for us to get above 106,000, basically 500, or 106,298. Wait for the 5-minute to break above the 200 MA and for the 21 to touch price action. Now look at what has changed now. See how the 21 is starting to curve? But again, doesn't, and again, this is a symmetrical triangle. This here, 1, 2, these mainly break to the downside 68% of the time. So this is more likely going to dump than pump. Understand? So that is what it is. There's hidden 4-hour bullish div and regular 1-hour bullish div. Hidden 4-hour bullish div now, someone's saying? Let's take a look. You're saying this hidden bullish divergence on Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame is incorrect. That's a swing up, but I guess you could kind of call that hidden bullish divergence in a way. I'm with you on that. But to me, this is the divergence. Like you already touched that line there. And then you couldn't get back above, 110,003 and you got resistance and you double topped. I'm more bearish than bullish unless I've said it 1,000 times, right? So now it looks like the head short may be in play because the 5-minute couldn't do its thing. Understand? And at one point, you got to pull the trigger and decide what you're going to do. I believe the head short is the best perspective right now. I gave the 5 minutes so many chances to get back above the 200, and it doesn't seem to want to do it. Looks like it's even getting more bearish here. But I am getting mixed signals. It's heavy chop. It's not the best day to trade. Probabilities are against me, and I know that, so why would I go hard on that? You keep your capital for when the the most likely play is going to happen. Everything else, I tread lightly until we get until it moves like that. But man, the head short's a good idea. So, I could begin the head short. I'll go 257 for 8. That way, if it doesn't go my way, I'll lose 250, right? But I'm going to open up a head short here for Bitcoin on weeks. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. I hit the wrong. I hit the long, So I did just open up a short here with a stop above the 200 MA on the 2-hour time frame. Take profit would take you to 101,350. And the bigger time frames are suggesting that this is likely going to happen. I waited for the 5-minute to get above. I didn't get it for 2 hours straight. That gave me the confidence to open up the short. So I leave you with a short as I leave the stream. You do whatever makes you happy. I love each and every one of you. We'll come back to this in the next few hours. I'll show you what's happening, and we'll go from there. Everybody, I love you. I appreciate you more than you would ever know. I thank each and every one of you for holding me down this entire trip here in Las Vegas. May God bless each and every one of you, and thank you all for bringing the heat, bringing the love, and just coming through every single day for the lifer. I love you all. You mean the world to me. I thank each and every one of you who showed up to the Lifer Meetup. Man, this has been one of the greatest trips of my entire life, being here in Sin City Crypto Studio. Dave, can you come here, man, and say hi to everybody? I love this guy, man, and I don't just say that. He's a really great guy. Like, if we met and it wasn't in crypto, we would be friends. We would get along, but we happen to also like each other, and there's mutual benefit through business. And I just think these are the people I want to be around. They always have an open door. If you're starting a YouTube channel, if you're out here on the West Coast, if you're traveling, hit them up, Sin City Crypto. Look at their Twitter, find out more about them, watch their channel. All my lifers, man, thank them on their stream today for letting me stream. I want to see you guys sending super chats, supporting them. They're hooking me up. They're helping me keep my stream alive, and they've done it more than once. So God bless you all. Thank you so much, man. If you want to say anything, guys, real quick.
Not Robin. No. So Robin's always trying to jock my style. I'm just saying, yeah, you guys know this week's been pretty crazy, and the first time we actually met Lifer, one of his community members.
Dave's a lot taller.
Sorry. One of the community members, I forget, do you remember who it was that reached out to us and said, hey, Lifers?
No, I don't remember who it was.
Man. Anyway, someone reached out and they're like, hey, Lifer? We're like, of course we know Lifer. Like, hey, look, he's having some connection issues. I heard you guys have a studio. And I immediately DM Lifer. And he came down here. And I had to literally tell this guy to stop saying thank you. And so you guys are in great hands, and Lifer knows we'll always be here for when he needs us. So we appreciate you, brother. Anytime, man.
God bless you, fam.
God bless you, too. Thank you.
And with that, everyone, I just want to say thank you to everyone that held me down, that continues to do so. I love you guys. Remember, the secret to success is getting started. You can't do nothing if you don't start. You're going to learn from your losses, but you got to start. You got to move. You can't stay paralyzed in fear. You're not going to learn anything. The short's up 12 bucks, 1.8%. It's not a big deal, but it is starting to print a little bit. 105.222 on the short. I love you all, everybody. I'm cutting off the mic. I'll see you on the next one. Stay amazing. Stay fresh. Stay blessed. And remember, the secret to success is getting started. You're not going to be great when you start, but you got to start to be great. I believe in you.